vai. Dando fuga, vai. Não tenta bater de frente, sabe que lá tá fazendo macete. Desce, desce até o chão, ela tá doida pra colar com a gente. Fazendo macete, ela tá doida pra colar com a gente. Tá dando fuga, vai. Dando fuga, vai. Não tenta bater de frente, sabe que lá tá fazendo macete. Desce, desce até o chão, ela tá doida pra colar com a gente. Fazendo macete, ela tá doida pra colar com a gente.
Hello everyone and welcome to Verizon VALORANT Game Changers Stage 1 main event.
On Haven, it's typically how you play this Yoru comp as well, that push and pull, and go for that early lobby control.
Hang on, there it is, 2. And Astralis instantly shuts the door on that. 3 on the round for the Omen. Wada ties up. They're waiting. Oh, they're waiting a real long time. Alexis with 2. The Sheriff is clean. Make that 3. Popping Yellow here very soon, trying to get a little bit closer. As Donut laser shot out of Power Pixel. Make that 3. Flying up in heaven. Waiting to flood out. The net will land. Donut still down there. Hell, 3 on the round. Make that 4. The pistol for SRG. And it seems like they will. I love Bell's position. They have no idea. Beautifully played. The late flank out from the controller. Now Bell's going to get 3 on the round. Unless there's a flood out from Spawn, no. And nobody was holding Spawn! You gotta live! 3 on the round, but Starbound's not gonna get pushed. The Red Bull clutch. Wada have the lead in OT.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Verizon VALORANT Game Changers Stage 1 main event. It has been an amazing bout of Game Changers so far, and with the lower finals ahead today, I cannot wait to get started. Sierra Dawn, Dan, and Ender on the desk for today. Dan, this Game Changers event has been amazing, and lower finals already, best of 5s ahead. I cannot wait.
Yeah, it's been so fun to see so far. A lot of players that we never really saw making it to the top 3 that now are in the top 3. And this time around, we have a best of 5 to find out who is going to be the new team that is going to be facing Shopify Rebellion in the grand final.
Yeah, especially coming off of yesterday's series, right? With Ghost Gaming taking out Aussie and Friends pretty convincingly. And then Wada continuing their success, taking another map off of Shopify. They're definitely coming in to this lower bracket final as the favorites today.
Yeah, Wada have been looking great so far, and of course, looking back at kickoff and what they're able to do there, they're looking to try and get the upset in this tournament. But Ghost Gaming, also one of these top 3 teams, Dan, has been a team that has been glowing up steadily. They've had that long haul lower bracket run since getting knocked down by Wada. But what we got to see yesterday, the resilience, they look great.
I think they were talking about it, the players as well, on social media. Everybody expecting Aussie and Friends to get that win, but it's actually Ghost kind of turning it around. So I think it's just one of those teams that are really fun to see. And not every single time you see this kind of lower bracket run that goes from the first lower bracket round 1 all the way into where they are right now playing that best of 5.
Yeah, and it's been cool to see during their run here. You know, we talked so much about Bunny B and switching over to the Phoenix and how good she was looking, but so many other players have been stepping up. Vanitas was looking so good. Ariel too in their final map yesterday just put on a masterclass performance on the Sentinel role. So it's been very nice to see how much and how far they've come as a team.
And looking at the rosters for today, players that have definitely earned their right here, but one little call out due to a personal emergency. Vanitas is stepping out for at least the beginning of this series. Biffy's going to be stepping into play. So Ghost Gaming, Ender, that is definitely going to be a little bit of a blow, but they've played with Biffy before, so I'm excited to see what they're capable of putting up here up against Wada.
Yeah, and Biffy's a player that I'm pretty familiar with. I think we trialed her at some point on Teddy. One of our former players, Ken, duoed all the time with Biffy. So this is definitely a player that is a very crisp shot. And sort of speaking with Ken, she told me that Biffy's really good at like finding opportunities for herself and calling for like utility when she wants to get aggressive. She has also subbed in once before with this Ghost Gaming team. That was back earlier during Swiss, and that was on the Smokes role. But my big question today is, what does the roles actually look like for Ghost? Because while Biffy did sub in and play Smokes previously, Biffy is a duelist player, and Vanitas has been playing almost exclusively a little bit of ISO, but really it's been Deadlock. Biffy doesn't have any experience on that agent as far as I know, so it's possible that Ghost Gaming revert back to some of the older comps they were playing, and instead of Bunny B being on Duelist, it could potentially be Biffy here if they want to make her comfortable.
We oftentimes do see these kind of things happening for rosters where players end up having to be very, very flexible, because you never know what's going to happen, who's going to be able to play for these games, or who is going to have to kind of change that composition that we've seen for this out of Ghost Gaming. So yeah, I also have those questions of what are they going to be doing today? Are they going to be changing their compositions drastically just to adapt into what Biffy is going to be and is capable of playing, or are they going to kind of try to keep things the same? It's not the best when you're playing this best of 5 when you're trying to make it to the grand final, but Biffy is an amazing player, as Ender was saying, so I think there's a lot of potential here to at least push us into that 5th map.
Yeah, if she has a clean shot, she'll fit in so well with the rest of the team. But what I'm looking for, looking at this rematch, it is a rematch. This was a Wada that sent Ghost Gaming down into the lower bracket, and it was something that the Wada coach, King Fred, had kind of talked about, was these mind games. These two teams have scrimmed before. Wada has been very supportive of Ghost Gaming. So I'm curious with the little player switch up forward today and Ender, not necessarily us knowing what's coming out composition-wise, if that's where Ghost Gaming could catch them offhand. Because last time they played, I mean, Ghost Gaming, they still talk about that 13-0.
It's hard to believe a lot in Ghost coming in, you know, looking at them having a last-second sub, and also looking at this series, because they got destroyed on Sunset. And again, this is the pre-role swap, pre-agent swap for Ghost Gaming. They were playing back then with Bunny B on the Breach and just got absolutely shut out. Lost an early anti-bonus round, and that just meant that the Starbound Chamber Op came online super early, and there was nothing Ghost could do against it.
This was a really interesting series too, because I mean that 13-0, there was nothing that you could do against Starbound on the Chamber when we got to see the map of Sunset. And when it came to Ascent, it was a lot closer. It was a little bit more of a back and forth between the two, mainly because Starbound was not really finding those timings early on that we saw on Sunset, but it was still ultimately that side of Wada that are not only our kickoff champions, but continue to have that improvement, that growth, to be that favorite team that we expect to make it to the grand finals tomorrow. And as we're saying, for Ghost, it's not the best situation, but I think with the little things that they were able to do on Ascent and going into a best of 5, I want to see what else are they able to bring us to see how close they can get, even knowing the situation that they're in right now.
And we got to talk about a couple of the players to really keep an eye out in today's match. And one of the first players, I mean, you have to talk about what Starbound has been able to do for this Wada team. Starbound has been somebody that for Game Changers already had a name for themselves. Absolutely do not be fooled. And someone that was also called out by Ghost Gaming as, we got plans for you. Like, there is a lot of respect for this player, and for good reason. Starbound has been popping off, Dan.
Yeah, when you kind of put aside that Shopify roster, obviously you look at Starbound, and is one of the only players that we have with that international experience. But right now, it seems like they really found themselves with this Chamber. It's insane to think about, because this team of Wada, they've been playing a double Sentinel in every single map, and Starbound has been playing Chamber in every single map. It doesn't matter what's going wrong, right? They're going to be on this agent, and it has worked out so well for the team. They have a very clear understanding on how Starbound is going to be able to set up the rest of the team for success, get those openings as well, get those fast rotations too, and then have that map control with little things that end up adding so much to this team. It's been so fun to see. I think it's just one of those things that at the beginning you think it's kind of a joke of, yeah, there's no way they're playing Chamber every single time, but it works so well that it's like, okay, I see the vision now.
Yeah, and it works so consistently, right? Because Starbound is so good. It's interesting because Wada are a team that value a lot of like individual agency. I think when it comes to like how they play their maps, they allow their players to take some pretty aggressive fights, and I think the Chamber just slots into that exactly. So this team, especially when they're playing teams underneath their skill level, like you're just going to see Starbound putting up ridiculous numbers, but they can also hang up there with the best of them, like we've seen pretty consistently in those matches against Shopify.
And we got to talk about the best of them coming out from the other end. Someone else as well that's really been a staple of the Game Changer scene, and talk about Bunny B. Especially too when you're looking at this Ghost Gaming team and the fact that they have had all of these different role swaps, right? Because Bunny B has been the person ender, but someone who's always been able to pop off.
Yeah, and again, coming into today, this is the biggest challenge yet for Bunny B. Vanitas is stepping away, so where Bunny B goes in terms of agents is really up in the air. Again, recently, in the success in this lower bracket, it has been the Yoru and it's been the Phoenix, and taking over on those agents, playing duelists for the squad, taking the first engagements, but to make some comfort room for Biffy, it could be a world where Bunny B ends up going back into either the Deadlock or those supportive agents in the Breach and KO.
And I just really like the story for Bunny B, because last year we saw Bunny B mainly playing this duelist more than anything else, and now you see the player that she's turned out to be, just incredibly flexible, a little bit of the initiator, a little bit of that sentinel too. So we're kind of wondering what the situation that the team is in right now, where they're playing with a sub. Bunny B is just one of those players that it seems like is willing to play anything to try to get those wins. And I just think about it, back then I was looking at how many times Bunny B was playing another agent or another role last year, and it was only one time during a main event that they were playing that Sova instead of a duelist, and that was just because they were playing Icebox. They were playing no duelist composition. Every other time you were seeing Bunny B on the Jet more than anything, a little bit of the Yora, a little bit of the Neon, and this year just playing everything.
So you'll love to see that glow up coming out from her, that we're getting to see almost any agent coming on out. I think that's going to be so crucial for today's series. But before we really dive into the series today, the fact that we do have tape from these teams so recently, and there was a round specifically looking at that sunset coming out from Wada that you wanted to talk about, specifically how they're able to take such an upper hand.
Yeah, I want to break down this round. This is round 11. This is when what did I get 13-0 or win 13-0 against Ghost Gaming. So you look at the setup on Sunset. This is what they do every single time. They're going to put that chamber trip towards mid. There's going to be Starbound playing towards mid, and then they're going to go with some aggressive play towards A side with these three players, with the Fade, with the Neon, and the Omen, with that one way. On the other side, you're often going to have that deadlock. Now, every single time Ghost Gaming, we're going for that extremity push, or sometimes they were going for an attempt of playing up for one, just leaving kind of the vibes by themselves. But this time around, they're trying to contest that chamber because it's been so annoying every single time. So they go for that play. They go for that Neon wall as well to try to isolate that duel. But guess what? Because the Omen was playing so far back towards main, it's already an Astralis that is ready to take that fight, sends that paranoia, and even if she gets traded, you still see how fast the reaction for the rest of the team is going to be, where Femboy is going to immediately make sure that the chamber is not going to go down in vain, and the rest of the team is going to be able to support it, even going for that overdrive. So those are kind of the fast plays, fast reactions that you're going to be continuing to see for Wada, not only on this map, but pretty much every single time when you're going to have that chamber towards that, having that mid control, and everybody towards the extremities kind of ready to play back and expecting that chamber to be contested.
And it's, hey, at this point, a Wada that was able to adjust so quickly in the rounds, but Ghost Gaming, I'm sure they'll have done their homework into this, so I cannot wait to see what they've cooked up to try and take down that annoying chamber on the opposing end. Well, let's talk about the series at hand here. Lower finals. So this is going to be the best of 5. I love the best of 5s because you really get to see the depth of the map pools coming out. And Ender, first up, Lotus, Wada. This is where they had that crazy map against SRG, so this should be fun.
Yeah, winning that one in overtime, if I remember correctly. That was a crazy one, back and forth. But then we do end up going into very familiar territory, maps 3 and 4, so potentially like series deciding maps there in Ascent, which was that close series or close game 13-11, and then Sunset, which again I think that's just an insta loss for Ghost. I'm sorry, you got 13-0'd last time. I don't believe up against Wada it's gonna happen.
Yeah, also one of the things that you really need to pay attention to here is who is going to be starting on the defense. And as we've been talking about for Wada and what they like to play with this double sentinel and with that chamber, that defense side actually really matters to them. And so in a map of Lotus where you often see teams going for that attacking side, there's going to be a Wada starting on the defense. So that changes a little bit of what we saw yesterday against Shopify, Berlin Gold. And as the series moves on, you know, I really want to see the Sunset because that 13-0 was insane, and I think, you know, if you're on the side of Ghost, no matter the situation, you want to go for that revenge, try to see if you can get a few more rounds, maybe even win that map. But it's not going to be easy. I mean, and we've been telling you guys, it's really not going to be easy to win that series for Ghost. They still absolutely have a chance. Stand-Up was obviously the closest map that they had the first time that they played each other in the main event. But it's just those little details that I'm wondering if they're able to fix in time with a sub as well.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at this map pool and you're trying to figure out, okay, what maps do Ghost actually need to win, you have to assume, okay, this time they can actually take Ascent. That gives them 1. But with Sunset being what it is, Ghost kind of need to steal away a win on either Lotus or Haven, but neither of those are looking good. If you just check out what Wada does, like recent history, again, they beat Shopify on Lotus yesterday, and Haven, they just destroyed Aussie and Friends last weekend 13-2 on that map. So Ghost Gaming's gonna have to come up with something on either of these two maps if they want to have a chance in this series realistically.
I mean, they've been really open about the sunset and how that devastating loss to them has really motivated them, and how they tried out these 10 different compositions before landing on that Phoenix comp we saw, then switching it to the Yoru. So I'm curious then, with that level of mind games and these two teams knowing each other, then going into today, I don't know. I'm excited for the sunset. I don't think we're getting another 13-0 situation, Ender.
Yeah, and I don't think so either. I guess my concern is, I think if you were coming in today and Ghost Gaming was playing with their, like, 5-player roster that they intended to, right? If Vanitas was able to play, then I could see a different world for Sunset, but I'm still thinking in the back of my head, like, what is Biffy actually playing? What is Bunny B actually playing? Because I do think there's a high possibility that they just go back to playing the old style of comps, don't have Bunny B on the duelist for them, and then this team is just going to look very, very different. And that's a little scary for me.
That's fair. This will be really interesting to see, because I think the very first map of the series is going to answer a lot of questions that we have about the rules with Biffy coming in. So let's talk a little bit about what maybe could be expected, because yeah, we've seen the duelist in the past, but as called out, Vanitas hasn't necessarily always been playing that duelist, but last time we did get to see a Lotus coming out, it was the Neon pickup. So Dan, I'm kind of curious if this could be one of the maps that's maybe a little bit more comfortable despite the recent loss for Ghost Gaming, just because they don't have to switch around the roles too much.
Yeah, it's a map of Lotus, it's a map of Sunset where you're going to be seeing Vanitas, or where you were seeing Vanitas more than anything playing that Neon. And it's a composition that I actually really like seeing from them. This is a team that likes to play aggressive, and that's why I was saying on the map of Sunset, same with the way that they like to play this Lotus. They like to go for these aggressive hits. It's a 5-player hit into whether it's going to be Rubble or where it's going to be Mount, and you're going to be seeing the same thing towards Sunset. The only player that kind of steers back is Juna, and with that Sentinel and the way that they like to play it too. But for the most part, you're going for this, you know, it's not that you're working throughout the map as the round is playing out. Is they have a set play that they want to run every single time, and that's what they're going to be attempting to do, especially on a map of Lotus that, you know, can give you some momentum. And that's something that they were struggling with last time when they faced TV. They could not get any momentum into that first half. So it's just one of those things that you're looking forward to do, especially on the defense. Try to take a little bit more control of yourself, try to go for that aggressive hit, try to take that Rebel control early on, and that might change the way that this is going to play out.
And folks at home, anyone eager to have this lower final start, we're just waiting for one more player to connect, so we'll get into the server as soon as possible. Do not worry. But Ender, I want to talk about then win conditions coming from yourself looking at this Lotus map, something that for Wada, we did get to see them go to that overtime up against SRG, and where Ghost Gaming can maybe try and take advantage.
Honestly, if you look at how Wada was playing yesterday, they were playing a ton of slow rounds on their attacking side, right? Which, you know, makes some sense. Wada are usually playing a lot of slow rounds, looking for some lurk timings. And I think where Shopify failed a little bit versus, you know, the comp that Wada was playing is later in the rounds, Shopify were doing a lot of site stacking and leaving, you know, 1 or 2 sites relatively open. So Wada got a lot of free plants by calling just good macro on their rounds. I would like to see, as a different approach on the defensive side for Ghost Gaming here, to look for some more like aggressive plays as the clock is winding down. Instead of looking to bunker up and sort of, you know, anchor heavily on one side of the map, if they get a little bit more proactive, I think they could actually catch out Wada in their rotations between the 2 sites, play with a little bit more forward active information as well, and that would serve them nicely. But again, Wada are a very hard team to beat on that front because of just the agents they play with the chamber.
It's definitely a little bit of an uphill battle, but one that's definitely going to be worth watching and worth waiting for as we're waiting for the final player to get into the lobby. This is your opportunity to go get a snack, get some water, stretch your legs. You're not gonna want to miss the lower finals ahead. We'll see you just back in a few minutes. Thank you all so much for your patience. Welcome back. The lower finals ahead of us. Wada going up against Ghost Gaming. An exciting best of 5. Lotus, the first map ender, picked up by Wada. And our first answer to Ghost Gaming, what they're cooking. And that's going to be a double duelist.
Okay.
I like it.
That is not what I was expecting, but I don't hate it. Getting a little bit of T1 vibes running the ISO here. And this is an agent that Biffy has played. I would not be surprised to see Ghost Gaming, now that I realize they're happy to play some double duelist things. Bunny B and Biffy, these are very comfortable roles for them. So I kind of like this approach to a map 1 Lotus here.
Yeah, when you need to make changes last minute, I think this is the best outcome that we get. A lot of aggression with this double duelist composition, and especially with the ISO that we've seen a couple of the teams play here in Tier 1 as well, in Challengers as well. It's one of those that is going to bring a little bit more to what the things we were talking about, right? When Ghost Gaming is going on the defense, we want to see those aggressive pushes, and ISO is going to set you up to see more of that.
I like this too, is keeping players on roles they're comfortable with. And I think the double duelist for Ghost Gaming, especially with the aggression that they can have, should fare them so well. And maybe something that can catch Wada off guard just that little bit. But it's time to head into the very first map of this best of 5. See if it's going to be Wada to take down the map of Lotus, or if Ghost Gaming with the sub can go ahead and start things off right. Let's get into the map and head over to your casters, Doug and Baby Babe, to take you through.
Thank you so much, Sierra. Yeah, it wouldn't be a lower final without a little drama and without a little stress. Des touched on it. Biffy subbing in. Now we've got an extra duelist in the composition in the mix. Dre, what are your thoughts on this?
I think it's going to be an uphill battle, to say the least, for Ghost Gaming. I mean, losing a player like Vanitas is going to be very, very difficult to fill those shoes. That being said, you have an opportunity now to play with no pressure, nothing out on the line for you. I mean, just give it your best shot. And sometimes teams like that are the most fearful to play against. I mean, when a team has nothing to lose, they're willing to take more risks. All of a sudden, they're hitting some nice headshots. You get snowballed. Things could get out of hand. I don't think that we'll see that in this series for Wada, but we'll see. I mean, you never know. Again, Ghost Gaming had to run through a gauntlet to get here, because of Wada knocking them out so early from the upper bracket, right? So there's a lot more behind this than just these two teams. It's history, right? Like, you want to get your revenge.
Yeah, I mean, especially after that historic 13-0. Yeah, you're looking to wash that out of your mouth as quickly as possible. Bunny B's already down, which is an alarming start if you are Ghost. Definitely not how you want that to go. You see a lot of a speed up towards C. Some presence here defensively from Ghost. Not a ton, not much to speak of, but Aerial will take one for their troubles and eventually fall. Numbers the way of the attack. Wada on firm control. You're going to have a late flank coming in from Biffy. And it might be a little too late, Dre.
Yeah, Guitarist going in a little bit too early. Maybe you should have let this flank from Biffy cook a little bit. And now, I mean, with that ISO shield getting popped so early on and 4 members inside, it kind of feels like it's impossible.
Yeah. Yep. I would agree with you completely. Yeah, I think the late flank, as you mentioned, maybe if there was a little bit more time behind that, you've got a little bit more to consider, and perhaps it gets a little bit more interesting, but the timing just wasn't great. As soon as that came into fruition, everyone was dead on the site, and so, yeah, just like that, Wada with an early lead.
And it's so interesting, too, because if you had, used your vulnerable, or I didn't see what the buy of Biffy was in that last round, but you would think that it would hit onto Starbound, and then you can't get away with that TP play, right? So these are things that you need to be aware of in this type of matchup, is trying to find where the chamber is on both sides and using that ISO vulnerable to kind of deny that teleport from coming through. So at very worst case scenario, Starbound only gets one.
We'll see if that continues to play out. Biffy, again, a large part of the conversation. The late addition and sub into this Ghost Gaming roster. And it's such a pivotal match too, Dre. I mean, a lower final, that's tough. Biffy is already down on the round. Not much of a buy, not much of a purchase for Ghost Gaming.
Yeah, Yara here left her devices, but yeah, this should be a flawless anti-eco for Wada off of just a strong start from Starbound, some supporting cast as well after the C default being used to just stop that A main push. now Ariel is just left all alone. You don't want to use anything here. If you can do some damage, get a gun out. Best case scenario, but you're probably going to get outlawed.
You definitely don't want that. Instead, it was a judge. You know, we've talked a lot about the femboy judge, and for good reason.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that changing much tonight, Dre.
No. Especially given like some of these maps, even on Haven, right? You go to the next map.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those close corners on A that you could use it in, or Garage. And it's similar for this map. I mean, you play the Raze, you could double satchel in with the judge, and that's just so annoying to have to deal with. You know, you have to have really good tracking, kind of pray that you hit an insta headshot. Otherwise, yeah, that thing does a lot of damage to you. Yeah, you're cooked. So here comes that vulnerable that I was talking about. But you can TP past it with the Luna, taking an insta timing. Oh my goodness.
And this is the bonus too for Wada. If they're able to pull this off, they're already in a really nice spot to do it. You wonder here. Well, we can have that conversation later. I want to get your yikes. Okay. Yeah.
It's getting silly, right? It's getting silly.
Oh, it's round 3, Dre.
I know. That's tough. That's gonna be tough for Ghost Gaming. Not warmed up. Wada coming out hot off the gates as well. I mean, you know, I wanted to have this conversation with you because it's often said, you know, it's hard to beat teams twice. But I feel like the way that Wada kind of decimated Ghost with the 13-0 kind of gives you even more confidence that, okay, we could just roll over them. Like we've done it before. I feel like that's what we're seeing.
Them pretty much.
Right? I feel like that's what we're seeing. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the composition. So for Ghost, you often see the fight for A main from the defensive side, right? And it's often like a suck nade or a decay of some kind. You know, there's a little something to soften them up, and then there's damage behind it. Dre, I take a look at the composition for Ghost. They do not have that luxury. They don't have a raise nade. They don't have like salvos. You know, obviously Theo's fallen out of favor, but how do you solve for that? Because this feels like there's already some issues as far as compositional synergy.
Yeah, well, you definitely need to have somebody going towards that rubble area. I mean, it should be the Yoru either using a TP or just running straight across. Because again, remember, that ISO vulnerable makes it so nobody can use ability. So it's really just an Omen that can make it out. I don't even think maybe a Raze satchel can make it out, but you could even try to fight from door as well. But you need to take control of that.
Yeah.
If not, I mean, this is just gonna happen to you. Like,
yep. Just like that. Biffy. What, that dink? Okay. Biffy will fall, and Miara will as well. And Wada, if I'm not mistaken, it was a flawless round the last round, no? Am I correct about that? Yeah. I feel like it might happen. It might happen back
feels
to
like
back.
every round has been flawless.
Well.
Not this one.
That was nope. That was our doing. Right there, still a 4v3, still the judge in the hands of Femboy, the spike planted. And you've got a really nice position from Juna. The smoke towards heaven, and Femboy waiting on the other side. You definitely don't want to face check that smoke.
Oh. This judge is gonna probably get this kill. Or multiple, we'll see.
There you go. Starbound gets 2, Femboy gets another, Wada gets a 4. And they're busted. They're broke.
Yeah, it's been extremely fast-paced right now from Wada, just basically bullying Ghost Gaming on this attack side, Lotus. And yeah, you need more of a fight towards A Rebel because you don't have that damage utility that we were talking about. But like, you do have an Omen, right? So this is good. But the problem is, Wada aren't here to fight A anymore. They understand that there's probably going to be an adaptation be made from Ghost Gaming. It's probably going to be a stack. So you just kind of keep one person here to get info, see what you see, and you just relay it to the opposite side. And now, yeah, it's just going to be a speed up on C. You saw a bunch of utility being used from the defenders. So C is probably weak. Vi is already weak itself. This is
a problem.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, the plan towards
still have
C.
Raise nade. I mean, this is tough.
Yeah, this is really difficult. You've got the wall that's out towards water. They just dogged it over there, too. You've got sensors covering water and mound to make sure that nobody's pushing up. Oh, no, that forces all of the fight towards their spawn. And you've got things like that. You've got Femboy with the Judge, Starbound with the Outlaw, Turn of the Flash, Power Pixels there to save the day. Why did I get up to 5? I'm curious to get your thoughts on this, Dre, because yeah, at the beginning of that round, early timeout called here for Ghost. At the beginning of that round, we were talking about how it seemed like Wada were wanting to change to explore things over on C because there may have been an adaptation A, this, that, or the other. What sort of adaptations do Ghosts need to be doing there? I mean, right now, I don't mean to kick them while they're down. They have 3 members who are a combined 0 and 14. Okay? So my question to you is, are there, I mean, what sort of adaptations can you make if you are going to continue to fight for A main? Can you even shore this up right now?
I mean, it's going to be tough because we haven't even seen if their adaptation will work yet, right? So I do think that they're taking a step in the right direction if they do want to fight A, but it's like you said, now we're hitting that point in the half where it's like Wada should be aware that there's going to be some type of change. They might not know that it's going to be the Omen and Tree, opening the door, maybe using the Paranoia to take out that fast timing of Juna. But yeah, maybe this operator, maybe this is going to be a big statement for Ghost Gaming. Maybe Bunny B can get things going here and get an initial first blood, get things into their favor, and then play a good retake, right? I still think that's a tall order, and I mean, you never know though. There isn't initiator utility here to kind of fish out Bunny B's positioning, so
let's
it'd be a good opportunity off the off. Yep.
Yeah? How'd that op go?
It's not usually favored for the attacking operator to just like swing dry into an op and win that fight.
Yeah. Aerial feeling. I mean, that was very well played. Juna got some high ground. Aerial can't deal with all of the presence and all of the aggression. If he's getting spammed through smokes.
That's one of those moments as a player where like you thought you had the kill already. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You turn away because you think surely they died. Yep.
You hear all this audio, all these audio cues. You knew a Raze was lower that got hit by the trip as well. That's just unfortunate, that happens to the best of us. And it was a fast round again, and that operator buy got picked off immediately. And like I was saying though, like usually the attack side op, like swinging dry into that angle, doesn't win. I just think that Ghost Gaming need to just like wake up a little bit. Maybe use this as a warm-up map. It is also Wada's map pick.
Oh gosh. Yep.
Yeah. Just take every round you can as an opportunity to like kind of ease your way into it. Like it is a best of 5. Now here's the thing, Doug, and this is something that I was gonna point out earlier, is that Ghost Gaming have never played a BO5 as a team yet. I mean, you pair that with the fact that now they have like a stand-in as well, it makes it even kind of worse. But
yeah, it makes it more difficult for sure.
BO5s are a different animal, man. Like if you exert too much energy in like the first couple of maps, you don't have the endurance to go the entire distance, and you kind of have to think of it like as a war of attrition.
What is the adjustment here? Worth noting, not that Wada were hurting for money or for kills or for map advantage, but Starbound did pick up the op that was used by Bunny B in the previous round, so not even really having to invest that. Femboy satchels out onto the site. Biffy, no place to stand.
That was one of your only like decent buys as well. That was a Spectre, so holding front B, and now essentially feel like you're completely locked out of the site. You don't really have much map control. This B flank is only saving grace. Wada are just absolutely steamrolling Ghost Gaming right now.
Yeah,
just
I mean,
completely locking them out of the site.
Yeah, and this feels. How much of this do you chalk up to macro and game calling and game plan versus Wada just playing a little bit more disrespectfully and just almost seemingly like they know they can win every single gunfight they take?
I think like maybe in the beginning you could kind of point out some flaws in the macro of Ghost Gaming, you know, not using that ISO vulnerable correctly or that A peak on pistol round. And I think once you give a team like Wada the confidence that you, I don't want to say you don't know how to play against their composition with your comp, but like you just didn't do it right early on. It just snowballs out of your control, especially because they've beaten you before and the fashion in which they beat you as well. Now, keep in mind, that Ascent match was very, very close. From
13-11, I believe,
yeah, it was 13-11 or 13-9 or something of the sort. But the first bloods were completely even, 12-12. But it just seems like Ghost Gaming on these first engagements, these first maps, just haven't figured out how to do it well.
Starbound has been untouchable with the op. Yeah, Ariel gets 2 there. Biffy pulls them into the gulag and loses the fight with the shield. Astralis was able to win that 1v1 out.
Yeah.
And even through all of that, Ghosts are in a decent spot here. It's a 2v3. It's probably the most competitive one they've had so far.
And then you just get snatched up.
Yeah.
That's so impressive. This composition, once it gets snowballing, once the operator gets into the hands of Starbound, like you said, and like you don't even need to invest your own money for it as well. This is where this composition from Wada shines. You know, they play it on every single map, pretty much, like, or iterations of the same thing, right? But it's always the chamber, like the desk was talking about. And a big part of the downfall of Wada yesterday against Shopify was the fact that Shopify Rebellion did a really good job of denying the operator economy for Wada, right? Based off of, you know, winning a lot of the pistol rounds, winning the bonuses. It's a must. Like, you kind of have to play that way. You kind of have to rely on winning pistol rounds against this Wada composition to deny Starbound from getting an op online. Because once Starbound starts going, I mean, look at this, 14-0 right now. And you've just used your second time out.
Yep. And I don't know what the conversation could look like here that would make a substantial difference. The scoreboard hasn't really changed on the side of Ghost. Bunny B, Biffy, and Kataris are yet to find a kill so far, and we are 8 rounds in. And I think, again, a testament to Ender mentioned it at the beginning of the broadcast, and he was right in saying that it felt like Wada were the favorites heading into this series tonight. I don't know that I expected this level of dominance, though.
Yeah, not off the gate, too, you know. It's so impressive, but, you know, I had questions. I was like, okay, how are Wada going to bounce back after, you know, losing to a team like Shopify, where maybe if they played a little bit better, it could have been a little bit closer on that last map. And so far, I mean, Starbound has looked phenomenal.
Yep.
A person that got completely shut out, I feel like. Well, not completely. Still had, like, really good stats and a good first blood, first death ratio. But compared to, like, how they normally play, had a rough series. Like, how are you going to bounce back from that in, like, a day's time? This is the way to do it, you know? And as much as I talk about, oh, like, you need to warm up into things for Ghost Gaming and, like, you know, just try to get a flow for the game, you can't even really, like, just randomly go for fights, even though your composition is kind of good for that, because there's an attack side off that's holding you at, like, every angle. Right? Yeah. So it's just so annoying to deal with.
And that's something that Ghosts have not been able to solve, but and the truth is they have to figure it out. For as much as this half has been a complete disaster, an 8-4 would be something worth talking about. If they can get to that point, but it kind of has to start on this round. It's just a stinger in the hands of Biffy. And that's the stinger on the ground right there. Weapon has been upgraded by Kataris, and once again, any sort of advantage that they had is instantly snuffed out. Wada are up to 9.
Nice little spray Quaza from Australis right there with the Vandal back sight. Biffy is on the scoreboard now, though. That was off of that stinger kill, but yeah, I think as an ISO player on a map like this, it's kind of tough on the mental, because, like, you know that you need to be the one that steps up. Like, it is your job as the ISO to get a lot of these first bloods. But the way that Wada are playing right now is just lights out. It really does feel like they can do no wrong. Now, Ghost Gaming have a bunch of ults that they can use to maybe get the 9-3 curse going. I mean, it's a little bit of hopium with the way that things have been going, but that is now the best case scenario. You need to formulate a plan with these ultimates to convert into some round wins. This
Kind of
1v1
has
is
to be
massive.
here. Has to be here. Pacquiao is going to get tagged. Meanwhile, the 1v1 across the middle of the map goes the way of Biffy. Miara gets another. I believe for the first time all half, there's a numbers advantage the way it goes.
Destabilizing. Right now, you just have to play to that advantage. You have a 5v3.
Only Ariel's ult left.
Just have a double flank coming in as well.
Yeah, and maybe that could be the difference maker. I mean, they've also got water pressure and they have spawn pressure. That first sound sensor has not been cleared yet in from main, so keep a close eye on that on the minimap. Meanwhile, they're going to try to funnel in through spawn into the KHJ go. Femboy having to take a step back. Miara's the first domino to fall in this attempt at a retake. The Starbound claims another name. Femboy's left in a 1v1, and Bunny B clears it out. Ghosts are on the board.
It was taxing. It was labored. It was honestly looking like Wada was going to bring that back somehow, even though every single member was corralled into back site. There was 3 players stuck in just one spot. But there it is again. The lack of damage utility makes it so hard to even retake into 3 members, and you know where they all are. So
Yeah.
it's difficult right now for Ghost. You had to really pull out all the stops to convert even just a single round win, but I mean, you did it. Maybe this can spring some momentum, some life into your team. You could chain a couple more together, but the buy is not that great.
No, it's not.
Fight is very weak.
Even after winning that round, you're right. The financial situation is bleak.
Oftentimes in matches, especially this late into a half, spots like this where Miara is playing go unchecked.
There you go.
Now you're stuck.
Not fully cleared. Power pixel falls. Astralis knows the positioning, even with the decay. Astralis is able to get the kill. Op has been found as Astralis is playing with fire, and Astralis will not get burned. Biffy in a decent spot. The flash is good. Not good enough. Biffy gets 2. Femboys are on the trade. 2v2 now.
You walk out of heaven? No.
Yeah.
You walk out of heaven. It's off of a paranoia. I like waiting for the team play, but that timing was missed.
Yeah. And now they're going to be able to scurry their way out. Get the spike down on C. No paranoia to speak of anymore.
Yeah. There's still a camera here, though, from the defensive side, right? Ariel should be able to tap that alongside the neural theft to really paint the picture of where this post plan is going to be held from. Problem is they're making so much noise, and there's a showstopper that Femboy still has a boom pod as well. This is not going to be easy. Off the tap of the spike, you imagine the showstopper will be popped.
There's the tap. There's the showstopper. Juna TPing forward and will fall. Femboy left in 1v1. Again, that nade's going to hurt. Kataris is very little HP. 17 left. Femboy with the shorty. A 3K for the Rays and 10 for Wada.
Just playing the utility to perfection. After the kill, you get the recharge on the nade. You still have that boom bot to kind of, you know, double dip into the smoke with. And we already know Femboy's a big fan of using those shotguns. Those spots that go unchecked, but it only nets 1 kill. And yeah, Bunny B just not expecting the re-swings from Australis, playing very confident. That's very tough for Ghost Gaming. You finally went around and the life just gets sucked out of you after a quick answer back from Wada. It was scrappy. It looked like Ghost had an advantage into that round as well, but now you're left to really no Cypher utility here. Trips don't connect on a Femboy as well.
Yeah, the site is theirs for the taking. Maybe it'll catch a late straggler trying to rotate into the site. But honestly, given how this map has gone for Wada, even that seems unlikely. You've already got the deadlock wall out towards water. 2 members from Ghost coming in through spawn, 2 coming in through water, and then the last player, Bunny B, coming in through main. Here's the thing. They have done a really good job at trying to approach these retakes from multiple angles. Ariel will get Femboy. Biffy playing close. Juna on the other side. And the Stinger will connect. That's, hey, look, it works, okay? Whatever
yeah,
it takes. Bunny gets another. It's Astralis left in a 1v4. And Miara's timing could not have been better. Ghost get 2.
Yeah, off of some heroics from Biffy, landing some nice shots, getting that ultimate down, closing the gap from the player at the other end of the gulag. But 2 rounds just seems like it's just not enough. Not enough for Ghost Gaming to sit comfortable on this attack half. You're going to have to maneuver around, you know, the double sentinel utility as well. The bright side is you do have a Yoru to bait out some of these deadlock trips and stuff, but I think Wada is sitting pretty right now.
Yeah, I think 10-2 half will ease most teams' concerns leading into the second half. You're right. You mentioned the double senti utility, Astralis and Starbound. Not even just their utility, brother. They're top fragging for their team as Sentinels coming off of the attacking side. Like,
it was crazy. The mechanical skill that we saw from both these players. There's no reason or no wonder why they're both sitting at 16 apiece. Starbound with that light armor, 4 headhunter buy again. Yeah, I like the default so far from Ghost, pushing off this chamber.
I was about to say, it's a good set of utility, and even that pacing is well done, right? Like,
very quick.
Yeah, they invest, and they did so beautifully, right? The synergy behind the utility gets him out into mound perfectly, even having Biffy being the first to swing because of the shield, and then hunting down the chamber trip, or the chamber TP, excuse me. That was very well done.
I like this too. Aggressive post play, understanding that you need to flip the map. Most Gaming have played this pistol round to a T so far.
Well. Yep. Very, very well.
Oh, that would have been so silly.
Yes, it would have. That was silly. That makes up for the lack of silly that should have been there. Astralis on the defuse. Bunny B gets 3. PowerPixel left alone. That's now a 1v2. Miara is weak, and they are the last one standing, but PowerPixel left on the other side of the wall, an impenetrable defense. There's no way in, there's no way through. The time will expire, and Miara will just sit there and watch. That might be the silliest thing I have ever seen in Valorant.
You get walled off by your own deadlock? Yeah, 100%. What gives? You know what I mean? It's really tough, but Ghost Gaming had some really good protocols there. I like how they were planning to deal with that chamber. I mean, you explained it to a T. You know, using that vulnerable, the fade prowlers, the shield to really just, I mean, push back Starbound to not only, like, you know, step 2, but step 3. There's so much behind that, and then the awareness to flip the map after your B lurk dies is awesome too. There was a nice cheeky little Omen flash play for anybody that was flooding water as well. Now it's going to be full A control. This is what you can do when you're running a composition like this with the ASO. You can just bully that A fight over and over, supporting Yoru flashes as well. This is where things get a little dicey. The silent stack.
Which shouldn't be an issue given that, given that they didn't buy. But Kataris is able to punch back a little bit and keep things at 3s apiece. No guns to speak of for Wada. And Astralis gets 2. Kataris is left alone in a 1v3. That's 1 kill found. Kataris trying to alleviate some of this pressure. Juna has been spotted. Is there any idea of how close Starbound is? Not to mention, the spike is not even in tow. Right now, Kataris dropping back down. Starbound is there. It's a thrifty round win, and surely that's a dagger.
Yeah, it definitely feels like now the economy will be back in favor for Wada. The thrifty round wins are so massive in Valorant. I mean, it just completely changes the game.
Especially in a spot like this.
Yep. It stops any chance of Ghost Gaming thinking that they could come back. And this is like the danger of running into a silent stack. There's so much damage utility from Wada that it just creates chaos on the site. Even though you have gun advantage, like, you just can't deal with all that utility.
No.
Deadlock nade, the raise nade, and then you have some certain sheriffs popping off as well. It's so annoying to have to deal with.
Well, Bunny B already falling. That will be a problem.
Map so far from Astralis.
Who was very good the last time we saw them play too. Astralis has been very steadily consistent.
feel like
for
these,
Wada.
these great transfers and everything, just really displaying some masterful skill with that Vandal. And how many deadlock ults have we seen so far in this map? I feel like this is the fourth one already.
Yeah, it's been a lot. It's been a lot. We've seen many. That is for sure.
Every single one's got value as well. Pop it here if you even want to, based off all these audio cues of Ghost Gaming.
And I don't think anybody would fault you for it, to be honest. Yeah. But they're going to rotate out Ghost, looking to explore the rest of the map. And it is Femboy across towards A with a Phantom in hand.
30 seconds left.
Phantom, nade still, Boombot. Your fade is close as well. You could even give sight. Ooh, timing almost gathered.
Roomba's going to help. If he has to take a step back. 13 seconds left. The spike node just now arriving to the site. The plant looks like it should be safe. And that's one found. On the fishing line as Kataris falls. Power Pixel with 2 on the round. Area left in a 1v. Nothing. Dead.
Yeah.
That's another round for Wada.
Another successful deadlock ult on the retake as well. Iffy had a good punish on the Femboy who stuck around way too long in heaven after getting paranoid, but just don't have the guns, you don't have the space. And now you're sitting at, you know, potential first map loss. Well, now keep in mind this was Wada's map pick, and also Ghost Gaming have kind of struggled on Lotus historically, not really sticking to a single comp, like nothing really working for them. So I don't blame them for trying to go for, you know, this type of T1 composition with a double duelist. Sometimes you gotta like throw a Hail Mary in there. Ends up not working out for you here, but on Haven you're gonna see a very similar comp. You're gonna see the ISO again.
It's you. Wise to use the clone there. Not getting tagged by Starbound's first shot. Astralis won this last matchup. Not the case this time around. Spiffy wins it out. Ops still in play for Starbound. PowerPixel is going to get tagged by the Fatal. Spike still not out of mounds. Still not into C. And June is there to tighten the strings. This looks like it's Rap Stray. Ariel's left in a 1v4 with nothing but a Spectre.
Yeah. This one wasn't really close. Already 2 steps ahead on that flank as well, understanding that the Cypher wasn't shown at all in main. I think that was one of the most dominant Lotuses we've seen in GC so far. Wada looked phenomenal. Coming out the gates hot. Starbound is popping off as always, you know, and I feel like Astralis had such a banger matchup. This is going to be a tough comeback in a BO5 for Ghost Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, I think at one point Starbound, we looked and Starbound was like 10-0, right? And so you know what though? You're right. You're right. It was their map pick. We'll see what the rest of the series holds. Maybe they have a little bit more confident footing on the rest of the maps. We're going to throw it to a break. When we return, the Deaths will break down the Slaughter. That was map 1. We'll be right back.
I don't really like committing to things. I'm scared. But when Verizon announced that I could lock in a low price for 3 years, I mean, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Can you hear me now?
Red Bull gives you wings.
Hi, I'm Astralis, otherwise known as Aurora. I am the player for Wada, the flex player, and a newfound Sentinel and Smokes player all of a sudden. And I have been playing for the last 4 years since beta.
And I'm Starbound. I'm the team's chamber main, and I've also been playing since beta.
What does next year look like for you? What are your expectations, not just for the roster, but for yourself?
Radiant, a god, super hot. On the top team, I want a lot of earnings, not just because of money, but just to be like, yo, like I'm actually doing something, like to show to my parents, definitely, because I remember when my dad played, you got like $50 and a nickel for winning like a grand championship, so he doesn't believe me that like there's actually like a little bit of profit from it. So if I do that, then I can kind of show him like, yo, I'm like, and like maybe he'll be like proud, baby. I hope. I still don't think I'm where I want to be. I still have much higher expectations in like what I want. I don't just want to win one thing. I want to win multiple things and prove that I can keep winning, not just, so I'm still not satisfied yet. I'm still back where I was, but I've definitely have proven a lot since then. So it's refreshing.
You're gonna get me my first international win. You have to.
I hope so. Just a map.
Yeah.
I'll get you just a map.
Yeah. Well, I already got a map. I need a win. I want to go out on stage and celebrate. I don't know. We definitely gave them a run for their money last time, taking a map off them pretty convincingly. I think it was a 13-6 victory, and then pushing them really hard in the last map with a lot of close rounds, ending 13-11. So it could have gone honestly either way there. So I bet they're sweating a little bit to play us again, and we're all feeling pretty confident. I think we made a lot of improvement since then. So we're definitely really excited to play this match, and we're looking forward to it.
Okay, well, I like animals.
Talk about your animals. Spiders. I love spiders and birds. Macaws.
I like birds a lot because I have a bird. So I have to be an expert on birds so that I can raise this pterodactyl that's in my house right now. It's mainly like animals in nature, which like you name one, I could probably say some random thing.
Hey guys, interviewer here. Since Australis said she can name a random fact about any animal, I decided to ask for a panda fact. If you are a panda lover, please leave the stream now.
I mean, that's like my top least 5 favorite animal. Because they're like not supposed to exist. I don't know. I'm very opinionated. And they're just like, I think the only thing they eat isn't even like nutritional for them. They're barely gunning alive by the only thing that they can even like process. They have no idea.
They're pretty big though. What do you mean? How can they get so big if it's so not nutritional?
Like, I don't get. There's not any like fun facts about them other than like they're not supposed to be here, to be honest. They're like
So mean to the
like
panda.
barely surviving for no reason, just because they choose to. Basically, they basically choose to be like that. I don't know.
Sorry about that. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Yeah, probably 100 men. As long as everyone stayed devoted to the cause and, you know, teamed up and didn't back down, you know, they should be able to overwhelm them. You know?
Proper, like, effective critical hits, you know, like, somebody's got to get a good hit in there, like, eventually. Go for the eyes, you know.
1 of 100. Just suffocate them, just pile the bodies on, and then just make it so they can't breathe. It means, like, the world of Wada to, like, have a home and to bring our supporters with us, to have, like, that kind of community. And the main thing would be so we can actually practice full time and to be able to practice during the day where a lot of the better quality scrims are. So we're gonna have like better practices for what we can bring to an org. Obviously we've kind of cemented ourselves as like the second best GC team NA at least, and we're gonna play against Shopify tomorrow. So we're gonna see what happens there. And with how the format is with GC now, the #1 team going into Split 2 will qualify for GC champions, and the second best team with circuit points from Split 1 and Split 2 qualified to a last chance qualifier in Brazil. So the team that wins there also goes to champs. So we have a lot of opportunities, and we just love some support to get us there and open over the edge and push for champs. Well, thank you for everyone for watching, and thank you so much to everyone who supports us in Wada. You guys are the best, and you guys help us push through when times get tough so much, and you guys are the best. Thank you.
I also really want to thank the people that support us. It makes things feel a lot easier to keep pushing when everything feels like really hard to make things work, and hopefully we can prove to all of you guys that we are definitely gunning for that #1 spot. At least we've definitely cemented ourselves as maybe the second best NA, and tomorrow we can prove that we can get the first or are the first.
What did I win?
What did I win?
That Wada win, I mean, they're definitely gearing up for it, taking the first map of Lotus in the best of 5 lower finals in a spectacular fashion, 13-3 at the end. Going into this, it was their map pick, and of course we had questions what was going to happen on the other side, having to switch things up going on into today Ender, but Wada's performance, good stuff.
Yeah, honestly, they just came in and dominated from even the opening pistol round. Wada looked completely lethal on the attacking side, and it was just kind of running over Ghost Gaming, unfortunately. And it wasn't until round 10, I believe, that was the first round Ghost was able to win. That was the first time they killed Starbound. It was just a consistent problem for them that they couldn't overcome.
It's really impressive to see. I mean, Wada didn't give any space for Ghost to get anything going into these early rounds. So, I mean, just multiple rounds in a row as well. And then when you go into that second half, you think, okay, Ghost, they win a pistol. Can they win a few more rounds at least? And immediately it's just the anti-eco that goes the way of Wada. And it's just so impressive too. Like, no space, super overwhelming too. And Starbound kind of continuing to do what they've been doing for this whole main event. Just fragging out, being there in the right time, right place every single time, and also, yeah, as Andrew was mentioning, at some point being 16-0, then died a few times, but I mean, still ends up 19-4 for your chamber. So you really can't get any better player to be on this role.
Dying after 16-0, Corinne, I'm just kidding. Actually, crazy performance coming out from Starbound and the rest of the team. Australis as well, someone we didn't really get to highlight too much going into this. Step up performance. Ender on the other side. Like, I love the idea of this double duelist, but just wasn't up to snuff going up against this team.
Yeah, unfortunately, I just don't think Biffy and Bunny B really just came online into the game. Biffy got a few more kills towards the end, but my eyes really do go to Bunny B. If Ghost are going to have a chance, like, Bunny B has to show us what she's given us in the previous, performances during this lower bracket run. If Bunny B isn't finding success, isn't finding kills, I can't see how this Ghost Gaming can overcome Wada.
Which is worth mentioning, by the way, for Bunny B. It's very uncharacteristic to see her struggle the way that she was doing towards the beginning, kind of struggling to find any single kill. And when you look at this team, when you look at Ghost, when they're playing with that main roster too, you're actually constantly relying on Bunny B. And we mentioned kind of all the different roles that she's been playing recently. No matter what she's playing, she's one of those players that is opening up the rounds for the team, and that is something that we could not see at all on this map of Lotus. We're hoping that at least for Ghost Gaming and for Bunny B, this is just a little bit of a war map. Then as they go into that map of Haven, they can switch it up a little bit more and get a few more rounds as well.
Especially too for Bunny B. I mean, we need to see the step up, and as you said, this was uncharacteristic. But on the other side, looking at Wada, specifically Australis and Starbound, who were leading the charge, these are two players that right away in the server ender were really heating up. And I mean, even just going back to what we were saying about Starbound, like Ghost Gaming just could not kill them.
No, this duo is legit. Best duo in the server. They just work so well together. I mean, a combined 40 kills, 12 deaths between these two players on the Sentinel role for their team when they played, majority attacking rounds. It's just completely absurd what they're able to do. So influential on their attacking side, both in finding picks on the lurks, but also just setting up and getting a ton of kills in the post plants. It's really nice to see that tag team duo play off one another.
And seeing the chamber and the deadlock just popping off on the opposing end, that is terrifying prospect for Ghost Gaming now heading into the second map of the series. This is going to be their pick, so that's where they are going to get a little bit of leeway there. But still, there's a lot to go up against for this Wada core. At least for Ghost Gaming, we might be able to see a run back of a similar-ish comp. So Dan, again, an opportunity for something that's familiar for the core.
Yeah, it doesn't change as much as we saw on that map of Lotus where they were kind of heavily changing the composition that they were playing before. For this one, they have been playing this double duelist composition. And on the side of Ghost, it's kind of one of the things that you're relying on when you're once again bringing up having that sub, having to get something going. At least you're playing into this more meta composition that is setting you up for success more. Something that I want to mention here for Wada, they changed a little bit on how they want to play it too, where you're gonna have Juna instead going into that Sentinel. We just saw Astralis actually playing that Deadlock on that first map, but now the double Sentinel is gonna be relying on Starbound and Juna kind of playing it together.
Yeah, still a lot of confidence in that team, but for Ghost Gaming, this is a map where it's a must-win in my eyes for this series for them to stay afloat here. Look, like you were saying, Dryad, they are playing the same comp they've been playing previously. So unlike the last map, they do get to stick to their known playbook. That reduces a lot of pressure off of this team. They can play what they're familiar with, but I've got to see Bunnybee step up. She has got to be in here from round one if they're going to take Wada down.
And I mean, we got to hear from Starbound and Astralis and that Beyond the Crosshair. They're looking at that win. They're looking at the title and looking great in the series so far. So this one is Ghost Gaming to try and bounce back on the second map of the series, show that they have fight and can try and take this the distance. Haven is ready, so let's get to it and send it back over to your casters, Doug and Baby Bay.
Thanks so much, guys. Yeah, I certainly hope that after a little bit of a break and after an opportunity to talk things through, Ghost Gaming will be ready as well. And they're going to have to be, given with how electric Wada were on map 1. Dre, I'm going to ask you to hit me with a little bit of hope here. What's the win con for Ghost Gaming?
It's gonna be tough to create a case for Ghost Gaming here. I guess the bright side is you do get to start on the attacking side. You could kind of set a tempo of your own, whatever that is. If you want to start off slow and work the map a little bit, kind of find out where Starbound is playing, you have the opportunity to do so. Or if you just want to full send it, you can. But honestly, Wada's defense on this map is really strong. I mean, they're willing to push all the way through A lot of the times. Power does a great job of anchoring the C site. You don't really see Astra as often anymore in this meta, but the composition is really oppressive. And then also you see a lot of two-pronged attacks on the defensive side with Femboy and Starbound combined. So there's a lot of threat here for the defensive side, and I think Ghosts need to kind of maneuver around it.
Turning your attention towards B, the wall will segment them off. It's just one who got through. That is Biffy. And so the awkward stall out happens. They wait for the wall to go down, and then they continue to push forward, this time with the Paranoia and a Decay, heading towards C. Juna, the only one back in garage, somehow staying alive long enough for Power to show up and strike a little bit more damage.
Power just needs to play time here because there's that push out through A that I was talking about. Look at the aggressiveness of Ghost. Just running it down all the way into CT, or all the way into defender spawn. Starbound needs to kind of pedal to the gas right now and run all the way up and match up with the rest of their team.
One enemy remaining.
Astralis trying to clear back sight. Biffy falls. Katara's left in a 1v3. And that's another pistol going the way of Wada. A great start for them.
Yeah, a great start, and this is exactly what you want for Wada. You want to win these pistol rounds. It's something that was, kind of lacking yesterday. But I do have to say, I feel like Ghost make some really good decisions, like in the post plant, like pushing spawn there against Power, just sheer overwhelming force. They just seem to not be able to close out the rounds when they do look like they have the advantage there.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just a part of, especially in pistol rounds, like some of that mechanical skill just not really being able to shine through. Maybe this BO5 and everything, the entire situation given, like just a little bit of nerves on the side of Ghost Gaming. Because when we had the privilege of casting them, against that Prosperity team in the beginning, Swiss stage?
Yeah.
A big part of their success was, let's just play our game. Let's run it down. Let's not show respect to their team.
Well, they also had Vanitas, who was, going absolutely insane. So, that is sorely missing here as Ghosts are kind of crumbling in this anti-eco. Which again is to be expected.
Yeah.
Given that there's no gun on the other side. Aerial left in a 1v5. And so yeah, I mean it's a tough spot for Ghost to be in, but the truth is it's something that they have to figure out. A flawless round comes through for Wada. You take a look at what their bonus will be in the next round. It's an Outlaw, a Guardian, 2 Spectres, and then what? They could choose to invest a little, but they're opting against it. So not the strongest bonus buy in the world.
Yeah. So the good thing for Ghost Gaming into this round is the fact that I think every single member will have full armor. So that Outlaw shouldn't be able to get like immense value. Obviously, Starbound is on a heater right now. So,
Right.
you know, they might still just hit some headshots with it, but there's a lot of things to kind of thwart that from being the case. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but it's been a heavy B presence on a lot of these rounds so far from Ghost
Yeah.
Gaming. This is
Like the pistol, yeah.
Yeah, this is a game plan, a clear game plan from Ghost.
Yeah.
But they're stuck behind this vice wall.
Much like they were on the pistol. And then they tried speeding up. Remember, they went towards C-Link. This time, they are digging their heels in, and they're choosing to stick with the control on B. The fight and the extremity goes the way of Femboy, and that's a big one for them to be losing, man.
Yeah, and now it kind of makes you feel like you have to force the issue, and that's why Biffy pushes Starbound.
Juna falls. Okay, Ghost with some legs here. 2v4. This is Spectre and a Ghost. Surely they convert this. As Power Pixel upgrades to a Guardian. But time is short, too. I don't know how this one gets converted. Even if you get the kills you need, you'd be racing the clock, and that's a cruel race to make. Ghost on the board early here.
That was pretty clean, too. So now, you know, with this front B being abused by Ghost Gaming, you would imagine that Wada are going to try to adapt quickly here. I think that's why you see a chamber trip here as well. Maybe some double sentinel utility. And, you know, you're just not used to playing against a chamber on a map like Haven. I mean, most of these maps, right? So it actually will be chamber set up towards C with that operator buy. And I think Ghost Gaming have a lot of good things they can do to kind of make this op not get value. You have a deep C-long smoke now. If he's grabbing the orb, it allows you to get that ISO ultimate online. Now for Wada, you kind of need to have people play in front of your chamber, because if the chamber's the one that gets stuck into that ISO ultimate, only
That's
having
cooked.
an operator is tough.
Yeah.
It's you and me.
Who got tagged? It was Power who got pulled in, I believe. Power waiting on the other side. Meanwhile, Starbound gets a kill onto Bunny B as well. Succeeding on both sides. Incapable of doing Ron or Wada.
Wada also pushed through A, Femboy all the way down into grass. Reposition into window as well. Look at all this pressure on the map that Wada ensue, you know? I mean, solo pushing through A off of those picks at C. They really understand the ebb and flow of the map. So it has to be a B end here again for Ghost. But the problem is they're down 2.
30 seconds left.
It's not even this time. All this
Committing to
utility
this-
makes it obvious. Yep.
Yeah, and now they're committing to getting the spike down on B. You don't have the number. I mean, you were alluding to this earlier, but you don't have the numbers to scale out on this. And so even with you winning out the duel on A Link, you're still down. Okay. You're no longer down in numbers. Now it's a 2v2. Qatar's down to 15 HP.
This is getting silly.
Yes, it is.
It's a good smoke
Waiting for the
too.
paranoia. Guitarist had it in hand. Now the pump fake. I believe that connected onto both. Guitarist taking across Starbound. Is going to get cleaned up. Power Pixel playing in the smoke. That's one. Still left to find. Is Ariel's dancing around? Maybe you try to get it to half and then you try to take the fight. No, instead, Power Pixel trying to hold it the whole way. Ariel plays that beautifully. We're tied at 2.
Extremely well played from Ghost. That A-Link push was massive, going 2 for 1 there to make it best case scenario for Ghost in the post plant, leaving it to a 2v3. And then you see Wada just kind of crumble, peeking individually after that. I think, I don't know who it was. It was Juna, I believe, who gets picked off first here. Taking that head-to-head. That's kind of where things slip away. And makes the retake even harder, because obviously Starbound has to use an op now. And Kataris on the Omen just closes it out with some really well-placed smokes in the post plant. So Ghost Gaming have some life on this map. Maybe that comfortability of, you know, everybody else playing, you know, a similar comp on your map pick. You just won it yesterday as well. maybe that's just exactly what Ghost Gaming needs.
Having this eco for Wada will certainly help. And so barring an eco, barring some silly, they should take the lead for the first time all series. Or
Down A.
Close right either.
oh no.
Last
We
player
settled.
This is not, brother, this is not supposed to be going this way. Kataris is left in a 1v4. This was nothing but pistols for Wada. There was no Stinger. There was no Spectre. Kataris still has the chance to pull this off. Grabbing the TP, or grabbing the spike, excuse me, and TPing all the way to the other side of the map.
Yeah, the thing is, Wada are able to upgrade on 2 members. Now, if Kataris can isolate some 1v1s here, which looks like there might be an opportunity to do so, this is doable, Doug. You still have Paranoia online as well. I mean, if you can take out Juna here, which you just got the audio cue, where she's coming from.
Oh. 8 bullets left. 2 targets to find. 1 smoke used. Juna trampling forward. Kataris wins out 1v1 out. 3 on the round. Will need 4 to give Ghost their first lead of the entire series. And no, it is the Thrifty that comes through for Wada. Just pistols against a full gun buy round.
It's all because of the pick of Starbound onto Aerial in grass. Because then it makes the rest of Ghost Gaming, who are all defaulted towards A, feel like, uh-oh, like the map is small all of a sudden. We can't go back. We have to hold W. And that's ultimately the downfall of that round. You get forced to wanting to take these weird fights onto top short, onto long, to compensate for your teammates' mistakes. And although Kataris makes it into a 1v1, Starbound just had a crazy timing running all the way through C long again. It's another front B walk. This is the 2-pronged approach that I was talking to you about. Femboy, Starbound, up, down. A site is free though.
It looks like they're going to find it too. The clone out. Not even needing to take the TP. You're right. They waltz in for free.
Taking a little too long to get this plant down, baiting out some of those shock darts. Still a Hunter's Fury to delay even further, though.
And Astral still has a drone.
Spike planted.
Interesting. Opting to use a Hunter's Fury for Bedlam as they attempt this retake. 2 ults used here. Aerial down to 20 HP. Bunny Bee falls. Aerial's in a decent spot, but that's a lot of contain to have to figure out on the other side. Snappy out from the Cypher, but it's not enough. Power Pixel cleans up the round with 2.
Yeah, completely outgunned and out-ulted. Wada had to invest a lot into this round, though. Your ultimate, the Hunter's Fury, also the Astra Wall. So, honestly, all things considered, it was a scrappy buy from Ghost. I think getting 3 ults out and a spike planet is really good. And now this should give you confidence in the next gun round that maybe you can actually play an A post plant and not have to face, like, you know, a gun disadvantage, ult disadvantage, and probably convert the round. Instead, it's going to be a heavy default towards C, though.
4 members there. You've got Thorn set up, an Astra Star just in case. And Power Pixel will be feeling a lot of this pressure. Starbound's op is in a decent spot to rotate quickly, and you already see Power taking a step back, and you already see the op rotating over. They're ahead of this.
Your ultimate does feed information that is a free site. But look at the spike, God. It's so far away.
And it's not really advancing. Yeah, Miara's going to get the kill with the ult, but for what? You're right.
It is a big pick, though, against the smokes. I guess it doesn't matter because Juna's just swinging Garage alone. Bit of an oversight from Ghost.
Aerial's position is beautiful there to get one. Bunny Bee will pile it on. And so, again, a numbers advantage the way of Ghost. Femboy and Starbound in a 2v4.
Time to jump.
Can they convert this? The Paranoia will not connect onto anyone. And if they're going to have a shot at this, they kind of need to speed up. The timing across Garage is brutal. Starbound about to get a shot into the back of the head. That's exactly what Aerial does. Nice flash on the swing. Gets a kill. 2 more to find. And none will be claimed. Ghost gets a 3.
Getting that pick on the Power with the Hunter's Fury, although the spike wasn't... I mean, the spike wasn't no man's land. it actually ends up working to their benefit because not being able to retake with smokes for Wada is extremely difficult. I think that's why you saw Juna kind of just taking solo engagements in Garage. The fact that Ghost Gaming gave up this free kill was kind of a blessing for Wada, but at that point, I mean, that deep lurk from Aerial just got so much value.
Yeah.
Being able to maneuver around 2 sets of Sentinel utility the way that Aerial just did is not an easy thing to do. And I think it's going to be a win condition in future rounds for Ghost. The more confidence that Aerial gets on this map of Haven, the more timings they're able to find. Could pose to be a huge threat against Wada's defense.
Yeah, the game sense really becomes a factor, and you kind of like ascending and reading the map with the third eye. You're absolutely right. Quick spike plan on B. They're all playing back here. Astralis is going to push up just a little bit further. Aerial taking a step back. The paranoia was used there. Keep a close eye on Garage. They're having to take this fight on 2 fronts, and they're trying to tuck as long as they can. Ghost played that beautifully. The push and pull works in their favor.
Really good awareness. Understanding that Wada have that tendency to like to push through A when there's a lot of pressure being shown B or C. And I gotta say, I think that Iffy has kind of warmed up into this series, getting a second ISO ultimate online. Curious to see what the actual score is of Biffy. I feel like I've been seeing the kill feed just be lighted up. Ghost Gaming have found some life in them. On their map pick of Haven, some comfortability in the mix of things. And this is causing Wada to kind of feel like they're on the back foot for once in this series, right? Taking an early timeout.
Yeah.
It's 4-4. Ghost Gaming are in a really good spot. If I'm them right now, you're winning the mental battle. You have a chance into this thing.
It is their attack side, and yeah, they're up 4. I think, you know, I'd like to ask you about magic numbers. What is it here for Ghost if they want to get a shot in the second half?
I think 7 is a good spot to be in. I think 7 is you're comfortable. I think that, you know, Haven is a map where it doesn't really tend to lean ever towards one side. But I think given the composition of Wada, you know, that double senti, I think it reigns supreme on the defense. So I think even like 6-6 would be good for Ghost. Like, that's a good spot to be in. 7 is like extremely comfortable, and they're picking the right site right now. If you look at the mini map, unless Wada decided to just full send down mid, and maybe they can do a fast flank, maybe catch a timing that way.
Ready.
See what the call is here from Ghost. We'll see if they actually decide to hold W all the way through this C site.
It is light here. Once again, it's just power. Just a Sheriff. Although we've seen this story before.
It's you and me.
Ult not getting anyone. Yeah, it's going to clear out a lot of this space, but no tag.
Shouldn't be any flood yet, so... Oh no, I was just saying Ghost Gaming should be able to set up, but what a spam kill.
Yeah, and Juna can pop the ult. That's exactly what she does, and now all of a sudden, they're on equal footing. They take a step back, but I believe all of them were hit by the ult. Katara stayed alive, stayed on the other side of it. With the Guardian, gets 1 kill, but now weapons upgraded for Wada. And now they have a shot at this. Body blocking the defuse as best as they can. 1 kill found onto Biffy. It's going to be another Thrifty unless Aerial can 1v4. And that's not going to be the case. Star Round saves the day.
It's all off of that pick from Australis, though. We were talking about the impact in the last map, but on these Thrifty round wins, like when Wada need to dig deep, I feel like it's been Australis on this map who's really like stepped up to the plate. If you remember the first Thrifty, some nice Sheriff kills in short A. On the beginning part of this retake, there was a spam onto that that box on flat with a Sheriff. I mean, a headshot connecting to trying to just break your way into the C site. All of a sudden, Juna is like, okay, yeah, 4v5, we can do this. Like, numbers are in our advantage. I got my Visol. We can go Sheriff v Sheriff.
Yeah, all it takes is 1. And they kick the door open with that. Wada out with 1 round lead. Starbound with the op not connecting, but Femboy set up on the other side. Beautifully played.
1-2 punch.
And the judge is not going to do it from that distance, man, especially not against Femboy. If there's anybody who I know to have the damage fall off ratios like to the T, it's Femboy.
100%. Stralis now getting some info that there are some members towards this A side of the map, but maybe not aware that Ariel is as close as she is.
Watching here.
Some missed utility, a little bit of visual signs of frustration because of it.
All good.
All right, now it's just very quiet across the board. I mean, look at this timing that Kataris has found deep into spawn.
But my concern is that the spike is rotating out, and so what was the plan? Was Miara going to try to rotate all the way back C while Kataris was pushing spawn to fight?
I think that was going to be the hope, but now you're kind of forced to go back after Kataris isn't able to get that multi-kill, only getting one.
And now they can turn all their attention back towards A. It's a 4v2, a retake attempt. June is going to get pushed off the initial line, 39 HP. Ariel not much better off. In fact, worse for wear. Gravity well, not connecting. Nice shots out from Miara. That's 2 for Miara. Ariel, though, left alone. When you're that outnumbered, you have to be perfect on every fight. And all it takes is losing one. And that's exactly what happens for Ghost.
Look doable, but I mean, Wada do a really good job of putting Ghost in really uncomfortable positions because of their like bait and switch setups. I spoke a lot about, you know, the duality of Femboy and Starbound, right, on this map. Like how they like to work places together on the defensive side, and usually it's like a walk down B of Femboy while Starbound is holding window. This time it was a much more passive like bait and switch setup, and it worked perfectly. I mean, nobody was aware from Ghost Gaming that Femboy was so close. And you were talking about judges. Look at this. Femboy has a judge, of course.
Ah, we're back.
Yep.
Juna turning the flash. Taking a step back. Not threatened fully. Dude, how does Juna get away with this? How does she get away with this?
She's going for more.
I mean, I would too. Kataris finally puts her out, but
I know exactly.
it's already massive damage done.
Cypher ult invested for the attackers. We'll be able to get an upgrade on the Phantom though for Ariel, and you get the idea that A is free because of that neural theft. Spike will be planted. I mean, maybe you can work something with this. You do have Hunter's Fury online, double shocks. You have the lineups for it though. Your shocks are not in play anymore. I don't think Hunter's Fury is going to be invested in this round either. So looks like Ghost are trying to play for the 7-5. See though.
Tag up on one. Miara down in hell. There it is. We were due for another judge kill. It had been a little bit too long. Wada get to 7.
It's like the worst person to, I mean, the worst engagement that could be had for Miara, right? Like the Yoru jumping with the judge and you have a sheriff makes it even that much more hard to connect those shots. And another Astro Wall used to kind of isolate that A retake. Juna loves taking a lot of these first engagements, and something that was punishing Wada in the last series against Shopify. But I feel like just having the confidence against Ghost to take those fights, understanding that, okay, I can get away with certain things like this against this team is like put Wada in a good spot in that last round at least.
A good spot in that last round, and assuming things close out the way it seems like they might, a really good spot in this map. They needed to get to 7, and I mean, at this point, they're lucky if they get 5.
So much Sentinel utility here at the C and garage site, but it does get a little dicey.
Yeah, but it's just not enough. It's just not enough. Those fast kills, those like bang bang plays on the site, always seeming like they go the way of Wada. And so when you're in those kind of equal settings and then you get 2-3 kills that come through in quick succession, it seems like they're regularly going the way of Wada.
I have to point out, I mean, at a certain point, it was 4-4. I think it was a timeout from Wada that kind of just...
I believe so, yeah.
It just changed everything. I thought that Ghost had a really good read on the defense of Wada. But they just weren't able to execute, getting thriftied again right after that Vice ultimate. You can't really close out a half and turn things into your favor when you get thrifty twice. You have to keep that in mind. There was 2 thrifties from Wada on that defensive side. That is just an uphill battle.
Yeah, and again, it's an uphill battle against a team of Wada's caliber.
Yep.
I mean, maybe with a bad team you can get away with that, but Wada's going to punish that every time.
Yep. And something Wada do a really good job of on this map of Haven on their attack side is focusing the Cypher utility, specifically with Sova shots and etc. That's nasty. I mean, that's nasty, right? What do you do about that?
You don't.
Look, this is why you see Sova defaulted towards C, is because it's for dealing with this Cypher utility, which teams love to set up here.
That paranoia, I believe, split the uprights. I think at best it tagged one. Juno was ahead of it. Really nice classic shots out from Guitarist. But Ariel's left on an island on the site, and she's overwhelmed.
Strauss has been so good. Let's see if Wada are aware of this flank of Biffy. And looks like
Oh, no.
Nice shot.
Last player standing.
Imagine discipline will be removed in the game for Wada in this post plant. That shield
Absolutely.
being broken as well. It's going to be a 3-person face.
And that's, if memory serves me right, that's every pistol.
Wada have been just on point. Look at Starbound score line again, 16-4. Femboy very close behind. 2 kills of their own.
I would apologize.
And this is what Wada like to do on their defaults. They can set up Starbound to take this A line, go for whatever 1v1 they want, or 1v2, because you kind of have that escape out of jail card with the TP. A nice dodge of the vulnerable as well. Starbound, good awareness of, you know, what could work against them with this composition, and that allows you to find openings like that, right? You dodge that initial vuln.
I do. Yeah. Anyway. Yep. So Bunny B is down off of that. They still have 2 players playing towards A long. Guitarist in mid. And then Ariel hearing every single step, trampling forward. The flash through, they clear Ariel. Fanboy gets a kill. There's a bit of a jump scare situation there too. And this round should go through pretty cleanly.
I feel like Femboy plays a different version of Valorant than like anybody else in the servers that we've seen. Just so many jump kills and, you know, it's like judge abusing. It's so annoying to play against. When you're on the other end of that, it's very, very rough.
Oh, it's miserable. It's got to be miserable.
Yeah. Now, I do want to point out what Wada have shown 2 rounds in a row, back to back. It's been setting up Starbound to get an A pick and then ending C. Now, you know, you imagine Wada are going to be a step ahead. And they're going to read into the fact that Ghost Gaming might try to compensate and stack a little bit more pressure towards A to deny Starbound from getting all that information. Maybe you'll see an Omen smoke into A lobby. You're going to see a Vuln again, maybe with a Paranoia this time to like really secure that line. Or maybe a Yoru running up long. But something needs to be done, because if not, the map will feel very small, and it just feels like your rotations will never get to C on time if you don't have that A line.
And it is a line they have tried fighting for. They've tried holding. They've tried taking. And it just hasn't really gone through.
There needs to be more fight here. Maybe now with stronger weaponry, I feel like they could bully. There's that Omen smoke coming through, and guard ISO and Yoru here. So I think Wada have read into that, and that's why Starbound didn't take in such an aggressive fight this time. It'll be a re-clear of the A space instead.
At least an attempt to. I mean, they don't have a ton for re-clear. They have the drone, but I guess that's it for Astralis. And so re-clearing A main, I wonder if they don't even bother. Unless, of course, Starbound can get a pick.
This is a way that you can relieve some of the pressure onto A, though, is taking that garage control. Notice the smoke that blocks off sight. So now Ghost Gaming are starved for information in Garage, and they're kind of forced to have to leave that A line. Look at the minimap right now. You see Bunny B getting all the way off of A line and having to drift backwards. Now, that being said, why did I haven't played into that? So there should be multiple members lean towards C or Ghost. I say that, but it's not. The rotations aren't in here.
Aerial's falling, back C. They start to push forward. That's one gun down. Kataris arriving and finding a kill onto Astralis.
Oh.
Traded back though. Juna getting away with one with the thorns again.
Unlucky.
Yeah, we don't talk about Juna enough, as that's another kill in the feed for the Vice.
Now you have to say
Are they? Yeah, they're saving.
Ghost Gaming initially had the right idea of what to do. The Yoru getting off of the A line because of how far up Biffy was pushed into short was the correct play. Like, there's no reason not to lean towards B and C, but just I think maybe over analyzing the situation and doubling back into A site made it so the anchor onto C, who was what was it, Ariel, I believe. Or, yeah, Ariel just gets completely overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Nice round from Wada. All that garage pressure and then, you know, not getting re-cleared was ultimately the cue to just go for the C-split. It was from 3 different spots. I mean, you were pushed all the way out of garage at some point, too.
Yeah. That's it. I think for as much as we talk about Starbound getting kills, Femboy with the judge, you know, this and the other, but I feel like that round, especially, it is more credit and a testament to the calling of Wada. And it's just been a ton of fun to watch.
And that's why they're the ones that have made Shopify bleed, right? A team that is so strong in macro gameplay. Wada are like almost right there, almost on that level, it feels like.
We saw it in the interview. They gave him a run. And again, if this continues the way it certainly looks like it will, they'll get another shot at it. They still have to close out Ghost, a team that has seemed a little flat today, but it's capable of plenty more. Although, again, as I say that and try to set them up, Juna once more becomes a main topic of conversation.
Yeah, Bunny B, usually when you're going for a mid-walk like that, you want to silently get into the window, but it was a bit of a misstep. And audio cues were heard from Juna, and they were just able to shut that push down with ease. And now you get the spike planted. This post plant's going to be so hard to break through. Once the double senti gets onto site, it's just even that much more difficult to break through.
Oh.
One enemy remaining.
Ariel not able to catch a timing there. Gets cleaned up. Kataris with the Sheriff in a 1v5. And so Wada will get to map point on the second map. Okay, good. I always hesitate when I say things like that early on purpose because, well, what if? But either way, yeah. Wada get all the way up to map point on map 2. And then, Dre, as we look forward a little bit, as we have, what, 20 seconds? Ascent doesn't feel a whole lot better.
No, especially given the way that these last 2 maps have gone. It felt like for a little bit on that first half, Ghost Gaming, we're going to make this a pretty close map. And
it was 4-4.
Wada, after a timeout, just shut that down. I mean, they just said, okay, it's time to start playing the game the way that we know we can. And they're back to their bullying ways. Juna solo swinging window against 2 and confident to do so, taking 2 1v1 engagements, winning both with damage at least.
Yeah, not taking any damage in exchange either. It's not even like she just walked away a little on top. And she gets a kill on a Bunny B.
Yeah, it just feels like it's over.
I know I said this earlier, but I really do want to reiterate it. We've talked a ton about all of the other pieces on Wada, but Juna has been such a treat to watch.
I think the confidence has definitely shown in this matchup. And like I said, like this is a playstyle that Juna like lives or dies by. It is going for a lot of these 1v1s. But I think these are the perfect moments to build up your confidence that you can actually win them. So if you are in a rematch against Shopify Rebellion, you're firing at all cylinders, right? Because it is a part of the playstyle. It is how Juna likes to approach playing this second Sentinel.
Yeah.
Down A.
as Juna gets another.
30 seconds
2v2 here. Starbound with the op. It is Kataris who's playing down in hell, and Ariel's so far away. Just now arriving to the site.
Spike planted.
Spike's gonna go down. Now Starbound can play this so many different ways, so many different angles. Even that ping pong was beautiful. Yeah, you think you've got Starbound in a decent spot, and then Power Pixel's there to save the day.
Yeah, a masterclass Haven attack from Wada. That comeback on defense as well, off of the 2 thrifties. It's so tough for a team to win a map against you when you're able to just like reign supreme with Sheriffs or the Headhunter. It's so difficult. That's why this double senti composition that Wada rely on is so oppressive to play against. You really have to play as a cohesive unit and really push back Starbound, and that just wasn't able to happen today for Ghost Gaming on that map of Haven.
Starbound has died a total of 8 times this series. We've played 2 full maps. We're going to throw it to a break. We'll be right back.
You might have heard I'm going through a little upgrade with my tats. So when Verizon announced that everyone gets a free phone on any plan, pain-free, count me in. Try and beat it. I'll give you a sec.
Red Bull gives you wings.
I have a wonderful electronic invention I want you to see.
We got to the point where we could control the laws of nature by advanced electronics.
second map of the lower finals in this best of 5. And going into this, we called this as a really important map here for Ghost Gaming if they want to make it close in the series. But Wada, I mean, Ender, they're not letting hold of that lead. They're not letting that go. 13-4 victory, and it's looking tough.
Yeah, it was, again, super dominant, although this time around it looked like Ghost might have a little bit more in the tank towards the start. It was a little bit more even, winning that round 3 and round 4 for Ghost, but again, at the end of the day, I just feel like Wada are on another level compared to what Ghost are bringing here on, you know, no practice with this core of 5.
And in general, I just really like the way that Wada were playing this map. I mean, you see a defensive side that is a lot more about the extremities, and obviously continuing to see Starbound performing with this chamber. But when we go into the attacking side, even though they have that massive lead of that 4-8, the way that they play it out is just slowing it down, being very calm, having that spike towards that spawn, playing that default towards mid, having that presence early on, waiting for that push on the side of Ghost Gaming to come through. Even, I mean, of course, looking at the composition that they were playing with this double duelist, and just following that game plan that they had from the beginning. Even if you have that massive lead where you think, okay, I can get a little more silly, they were really understanding on how they wanted to play that from beginning to end, and that allowed them not only to get that pistol, but also to get that bonus and close it out with 5 rounds in a row on the attacking side.
Yeah, their attack side was just perfect, right? Didn't lose a single round, and I think they both responded really well to the early aggression that Ghost was throwing them, whether that was like walks down into mid, and also just set up beautifully in post plants again. Wada consistently have been good in the post, whether that's in their matches today, whether it's yesterday versus Shopify as well. They have been very solid in that, and well, 15-2 in first kills, I think tells the story of what went down here, Dryad.
It really does, and mostly these first kills for the whole series, for the 2 maps that we've seen so far, are obviously coming from Starbound. That is 9-1 on first kills, first deaths. But you really do see it for everybody else on the team. And this time around, we got the chance to see Femboy being highlighted a little bit more on the Zero and the way that they were playing for those extremities, as we talked about towards the beginning of those rounds. But also, again, everybody kind of having their input in how they want to go for these aggressive pushes and how they're getting that first opening.
And I definitely think for this team of Wada, it's very easy sometimes to get caught up on the Starbound of it all. I mean, as Doug has highlighted, Starbound's only died 8 times throughout 2 maps, which is absolutely crazy. But you were talking a little bit about Femboy, and I want to keep talking about Femboy and the Euro gameplay that we got to see on this map, because Femboy is somebody that even top of day in the green room was talked about a little bit, and Ender is somebody that in these series can definitely step up. In this Euro gameplay, I love to see a good Euro.
Yeah, I think Femboy was doing a really good job, both initially on the defensive side of things. There were a few times sort of getting, you know, stuck solo anchoring sites or whatnot, and did very well, sort of holding their own and finding a lot of those early kills. Again, 4-1 in terms of openers, and all things considered, just a super solid performance in the second map.
And of course, it really helps out that Femboy can be such an explosive player and can be playing this Euro on this map where you're having that fast TP, where especially towards those early rounds when you see the chaos kind of happening, goes actually getting those 2 and then 4 rounds into the attacking side. You see how fast Femboy is at making sure that they're TPing onto side, they're helping either Starbound or Power Pixel, and then that way kind of balance things out. That's why we see so many of those first kills go their way, right? Because they're ready for that side hit to be denied immediately.
And I mean, to put it stark now in this series, Ghost Gaming are down 2 maps, and it's a lot of pressure on this 3rd map of the series as we're now heading into Ascent. And we've seen these 2 teams compete on Ascent before. It was a really close map, I will give them that, but it was Wada that was able to take the victory in the end. And I think for Ghost Gaming, Ender, this is where I bring up that question of roles, because we've seen Vanitas more so go into the duelist, and Bunny B, like, sorry, Vanitas has gone more in the deadlock, so Bunny B can duelist, but do we now see Bunny B go into the deadlock? So
it's hard to say, right? Because yeah, when they previously played on this map, it was Vanitas, Yoru, Bunny B on deadlock. I assumed that they had planned, like we heard Vanitas in the interview yesterday, that they were flipping those roles for those 2 players primarily, coming out of their, you know, falling into the lower bracket. But looking at it now, yeah, it's very. Oh, actually, they brought in Pickles. Okay. We were not updated. I know it was possible that they were going to bring Pickles into this, but Pickles is a Sentinel player. So this actually, this works.
Hey, one step stepping out, the other stepping in just when needed. But hey, Dan, like Pickles being a Sentinel player, that's gonna solve that issue at least for the roles. So I think for Ghost Gaming, an also important map, that's definitely setting them up for the most success.
Yeah, it's the best that we can do without changing that composition too much. Of course, having Pickles play on this deadlock. But once again, for Wada, they're going to be starting on the attacking side as they did the first time that these two teams played each other in our first round of the main event. And keep in mind, this has been going pretty fast, but this is still the spot to the grand finals. And Wada is up 2-0 for Ghost Gaming. They need to start really strong on this defense. They have the double Sentinel composition. They have the individuals that have had some great moments so far in the main event. But they need to make a comeback happen if they want to stay alive in the series.
Look, I'm on the cope train here. Ghost Gaming, the roles work a little bit better for them on this map. Pickles, you know, on a natural role. Pickles is a shooter too, okay? Very skilled mechanically. So I hope Ghost Gaming can put up a fight here in this third map.
I hope so too. I would love to be able to see the sunset and even try and get to a 5th map of the series. But for Ghost Gaming, all the pressure on them. Down 2. Can they take this into a 4th map, or is it going to be Wada 3-0 to claim their spot into the grand finals? Let's head to Ascent and find out, and back over to your casters, Doug and Baby Bay.
Thank you, Sierra. All right, let's talk about brass tacks. Pickles being subbed in. Here's my problem with this. I know I'm breaking Ender's heart right now. You're subbing, and Dre, I'd love to get your thoughts on this as well. You're subbing somebody into a series in map 3. In the elimination map, you're cold, a ton of pressure. Brother, how?
Hail Mary, baby. I mean, yo, if there is ever a way to...
But it's a Hail Mary into like a quarterback who hasn't played a game in who knows how long, who hasn't even warmed up.
Hey, man, I'm just saying. Sometimes you gotta go for it, right? Sometimes you just gotta... You gotta go for whatever you can. And I will say, though, the focus shouldn't even be that much around Pickles. It should be around Bunny B, who really needs to step up here for Ghost Gaming to have a chance on this defensive side. Bunny B played phenomenally against YFPX on Ascent before. And she needs to do it here against Wada.
Oh gosh, they're just running straight A. They're running straight at A. That Paranoia will buy a little time. The wall is nice. That will stall out the initial hit.
Now, Wada have a chance to settle. There's no way you're going to want to brute force this. You need to relieve some of that pressure. You know that there's a Omen deadlock now with this drone being used. You assume the Sova, who usually starts B, rotated off. So yeah, you see pings on the minimap right now from Wada on mid 3. Maybe a smoke there. Maybe put some pressure there. They might just send it to B site, though. There's still some trips here, though. Yeah. Ariel, a player that's been great for Ghost Gaming as well on this map.
Left much to be desired today. As has the Ghost roster, to be fair. They're going to rotate back A. They're going to end back A.
Exactly. Here's that relief of pressure, and now we're going back A. But
so
look at the minimap. Ghost Gaming are ahead of it.
Yeah, I don't know that they really alleviated any of the pressure because the trip is still up B, so they know they didn't go that way. Pickles is down. Welcome to the lower final. Already getting picked off through the spam, but the RM Bunny Bee get 2 really big kills. Traded back, though. Numbers, the way of the attack advantage for them. 13 seconds left. They should be able to get the spike down. They're even being picky about where they plant the spike. This is beautifully done.
All 3 members, 1 shot of a sheriff to the body. Bunny B has actually come up huge so far.
Last player standing.
It's going to have to be Bunny B in a 1v3. You mentioned how weak the remaining members of Wada are. A stiff breeze would secure Ghost their first pistol of the series. Bunny B has to get a move on. No utility to speak of. Just have to get your ones, and that's the first one found. 2 bullets left. 2 targets to find. Literally nothing else in the clip. Has to be perfect. And time is so short. Beautifully played by Wada. That's 5 pistols in a row.
Ghost Gaming just kind of unfortunate there. Pickles, yeah, welcome to the lower finals, right? Just getting spammed through the garden smoke by the ghost of Femboy. That's a tough way in. And I think Ghosts just weren't aware that all 3 members were in sight on that post plant. You saw, yeah, right here, Bunny B just holding a main that entire time. I really would have liked to see Bunny B be the one that takes the engagements on the site, understanding that probably a lot of these players are low because of all the damage that was done. Like, you have the sheriff. It was kind of on you in that moment to really step up to the plate.
Yeah.
2 kills just wasn't enough.
That's what you expect your duelist to be able to do.
Time to jump.
And just not converted this time around. And so off of that, you see the buy again for Ghost. Non-existent. And for Wada, it's 3 Spectres here.
Throwing next.
Got some of that utility on the cat. Saw this default before from Wada on the anti-eco, just working mid and cat at the same time, and now we're ending B.
Astralis getting 1. But Wada are giving a decent run at this. It's still 3 Spectres, so the only gun they've really lost was the Outlaw. Bunny B, you were asking for them to step up in the previous round. That's 1 kill found, but now Kataris on an island. Astralis gets 4 as Wada convert on the eco.
Yeah, Ghost Gaming off of Bunny B made that costly. That wasn't as clean as you would hope it to be from Wada. Not ready for a player lane, not ready for the flood out of CT smoke. And now Ghost Gaming, Bunny B is actually playing awesome right now. 4-2 scoreline. Yeah, you weren't able to convert 2 rounds, but you get an operator online because of the kills that you were able to net. The problem here is Starbound has that Outlaw, and in the head-to-head, you gotta be dialed in if you're Bunny B to hit this shot. And on that first map of Lotus, we saw a lot of op v ops go the way of Starbound. A lot of pressure towards A main from the attackers. But the double sentis on the opposite side of the map playing extremely patient, waiting for any type of mistake of Ghost Gaming. Now the attackers are going to do a little bit more of a lean towards mid, maybe try to clear out some of this mid space. Wonder if Power's going to get dart back soon to be able to dart mid 1.
Should be up in the near future, yeah. Probably within the next 10 seconds, I would think.
What a difference in a round from Wada.
Yeah.
Like, a complete change of pace.
There's the dart.
Flick doesn't connect, but that should give a lot of information to Ghost that this is a lean towards A.
The net there to try to delay a little bit. The smoke comes through. Pickles once again, it gets popped. And Kataris flashed up, couldn't see a thing, tried buying some time. Yara doing the best they could from up in heaven. But as has been the story for a lot of the series, it's just not enough. What more can they do? Aerial there with Bunny B side by side, an operator in hand attempting to retake here. Not the weapon you're looking for. If discipline is the play for Wada, and you imagine that will be the case, nobody will ever give them a shot. The bonus converted for Wada.
Bonus converted, and guess what? Starbound gets an upgrade now. That's what was an Outlaw is now an operator. And you would think that Ghost would be prepared for that cat split, given all the information, given the characters that were there, or the agents that were there as well. You have so many different ways to win this, but just got picked apart one by one. I mean, that flash on the guitarist, she's not able to see a thing. Pickles getting punished in garden again, trying to take a 1v1. When you have a site set up like that and you're stacked, I feel like you should be able to convert the round with the micro just not going the way of Ghost at all. And now with that first pick, Starbound on the Bunny B site is for the taking. Only aerial back site.
The drone is out too. There is one trip to help out a little bit.
You don't even want to end here.
Yeah. And the dart kind of confirmed that there was nobody out B, so you're right.
Here.
Try to slip the net. Juna's already all the way up A.
Yeah.
Kataris will be the first. Quiet about it. Pickles down. Juna was so far up. A flawless round as Juna gets 3.
Now Wada are throwing another pump fake. They showed a lot, and it sells because of the fact that Bunny B drops early to the operator of Starbound, right? Like, you're already desperate when you're down 4v5, let alone you're on an eco round. So you kind of feel like you have to like make a move and just stack sight.
Yeah.
This is great calling again. Like it's something that we talked about in the last map. This is great calling for the attackers. Wada look great right now, macro-wise.
Macro-wise, individually, the mechanics are all there. VR and Bunny Bee both have ults here. We'll see if they can do anything with it.
It's a good combo, honestly, for a retake as well. How passive these trips are, though, for Wada. That Vice ultimate's going to make it so Ariel can't use a gun.
Oh, but Bunny Bee waited just on the other side of it. And so you imagine a flash or a TP through. There is a rifle in play on the site. The Hunter Fury's there. Bunny Bee, again, the positioning on that was beautiful. Waits on the other side of the ult. Strikes when the moment is right. And the iron is hot. Ariel is still here. All of the resources, all of the defenses are starting to come through as Juna gets cleaned up. The op for Starbound rings and connects. That's 2 kills found. Ariel left in a 1v2. Make that a 1v1, and Starbound does not lose those. 5-0 for Wada.
Just when it looks like Ghost are finally going to win a round, it just gets stripped away from this crazy, what was the double Senti duo of Starbound and Australis. I feel like you can always count on Starbound and Australis in those down number situations to even the tide. Like if anyone's going to do it on this roster of Wada, it's those two. And it's because of like the multi-kill potential that both these players have, right?
Yeah.
The spray clauses that we've seen Australis get in this series so far alone is a testament to that.
Quick timeout call.
Reigning supreme with that operator. Only 9 deaths in the series. It's just absurd what's going on. In the last 2 maps, not adding this, Starbound was plus 31. These are just like ridiculous numbers.
And again, 8 deaths. Now 9. Maybe Starbound hits double-digit deaths before the series is over. Who knows? It's just been so dominant. And these 5 rounds, I mean, maybe the timeout can kind of tip the scales a little bit here. Quiet start for Kataris. Quiet start for Pickles.
I'm just trying to find some hopium for Ghost. I guess, like, you did get a couple first bloods really early on in the half. You just weren't able to close it out. If you're able to tighten up the defense when you're up numbers and win some of these advantageous positions that you're in,
right?
Maybe you can get something going. I mean, you need to at least make this a 6-6. You would think, if you want to make it competitive.
You need that.
Yeah, you need it exactly.
Yep.
Rip and tear.
Heavy pressure B main and a deep trip. I love that. That's an interesting adaptation there.
Yeah, get you some earlier info on if Wada want to play those mind games with you. The back and forth rotations, but the problem is it was her by Juna, so now Wada are in the advantage to play against that, and of course, Starbound is just getting picks. I feel like Starbound has really had Bunny B's number in this series so far, Doug. A lot of these kills that Starbound has been getting has been against Bunny B.
Look at where the spike is right now, man. You've got Pickles in a helpful spot. That's 2. 1 bullet. And that collat will feel good. That collat will help. But Miara's left in a 1v3. No Juna, 5 HP here. What do you do if you're Miara, man?
Just try to get any type of kills that you can. I mean, even damage to the economy at this point isn't really that important because, I mean, Wada have won 5 in a row, and like a couple of the rounds have been flawless. So, I mean, I guess you could start trying to crack away at that, but they're going to be sitting pretty healthy for the next like 5 more rounds.
Revealing area. Found them.
Drop the spike, not let Juna get closer to an ultimate. Power has the Hunter's Fury online.
Yeah. Miara will fall, as you were mentioning. Quick check into the money situation. There's a lot to be had on the side of Wada, as they're up 6-0 on the attacking side. Op is going to be carried over from Starbound. Yep. Tough scenes.
Yeah, I would like to see from the defense like a mid trap, you know, like something where you understand that in the mid round, Wada like to work like a 1-3-1 with an operator leading in the mid. Maybe off of a timing, just intuition, go for something, or even like a cam play. Instead, it's going to be double sentinel setup towards A site. Drone up mid. I think that that trip should have been seen by it, even though it didn't connect. You'll see a shock dart on the mid. To fight for a main control is Ghost Gaming. Here's that silent walk up and working cat of Femboy. I mean, you're gonna use the clone. A nice reclear of A main though from Ghost.
Yeah,
good proactivity onto that. Yeah, that was great.
Excellent timing found by Pickles. And this, I surely you rotate away from this. All of that felt bad. Juna's gonna be first. Miara will clean them up. Try flipping the map. It is just Miara who's here. Bunny B now starting to rotate over. Tuck back behind barrels, and there's a little bit more to this defensive hold. Should Wada choose to double down on this?
The main smoke needs to come out sooner, though. He's giving isolated 1v1s with no smoke there. Instead, it's a smoke on the site for Miara to play around.
Which is really the only thing that they can really do to help anymore. Miara backside, having to clean it up. Starbound strikes at just the right time. And off of this, they're popping the ult. Power Pixel and Starbound. This duo has been devastating for Ghost. And they're in a position to keep this train rolling. What can Starbound find with the op? A deadlock, all not connecting. Power Pixel falls. Pickles cleans it up. Ghost, get on the board.
Good proactivity into A main, and this time winning the numbers advantage. It got a little bit scary for me when Buddy B didn't get a B main smoke from Kataris, but it was okay because the supporting utility, that dart coming through from Miara, able to, or sorry, the paranoia coming through from Kataris was able to set up Miara for a kill onto the actual B site. I like the layers that we witnessed this round from Ghost off of the timeout. I think that if they can continue to play to their advantage like this, maybe keep putting this double sentinel utility onto A site, play around it, you could string together some of these rounds, and as long as you don't get caught out by those lurks from Juna, maybe you can make the comeback.
Maybe. That's a big maybe, but it's a maybe. We look forward a little bit here. They got too aggressive. They got too cheeky. Femboy gets two. Ariel's now going to try to fill in on the same space. And even it. So the thing here for Wada is, you just dealt with so much of that. You've dealt with half of the Sentinel utility that was on the map, and so now all you have to deal with is Ariel's utility.
Go away.
And Juna's, yeah, Juna's perfect again.
They literally just ran back the same round.
Yeah.
Like, they just did the same thing, but this time there was just more emphasis on the A main. And you even saw the adjustments that Wada made of Astralis going close into A main, not playing that cubby, just like trying to find that timing. Ultimately wasn't the person that converted the kills, but she will convert the last kill.
Which is the one that matters often.
yeah, right. Well, like, just those micro adjustments being made is just, it just shows like how on point Wada are today. You know, like making a micro change off of what you saw in the previous round.
Yeah.
And then executing onto it is extremely impressive. So now Ghost Gaming, like they won a round. They wanted to run back the same type of setup, and now you're left to change it again.
They really have no other choice.
Yep.
They disrespect the one-way immediately. The one-way from Kataris is doing nothing there.
I think it was even missed, which is just unfortunate.
Assault maroon, huh?
Look at this time. Juna's already up mid as A is being taken. This is so aggressive of a lurk.
I'm telling we've casted Wada a couple of times. Juna's insane.
Fake teleport.
Yeah.
Cutting through.
Server presence has been shining today.
Yeah.
And of course, we have a judge in heaven. Oh, man.
Femboy gets two with the judge. You start to see some of the defensive rotations come out. That's 3 for Femboy.
About to be 4.
Ariel's 20 HP. Even fully flashed. Nicely done to get 1. And Juna saves it. 8-1 for Wada.
I've gotten so good at caster cursing players lately. I don't know what's gotten into me, man. I'm like, oh yeah, my boy's gonna get 4 now. Nope, gets full spam blind.
Brother, for Ghost Gaming's sake, you might want to try that on all of Wada.
I don't think I have enough power for that right now. This form of Wada is just too strong. We'll see if Miara can do anything with this Hunter's Fury. This is maybe the saving grace of what could be an 8-4 for Ghost. Right here, right now. A dart in mid for the attackers, but it's actually extremity control, which is the name of the game. Bunny B, re-walking into this space, is good. I like the aggressiveness, but is Juna aware?
Gotta be close. Nope. Just quicker on the draw was Bunny B.
It's a great start. But here's where it falls apart for Ghost against Wada is when they have the advantage.
That wall's in a really nice spot. Astralis is already peeked out and destroys Pickles.
It's just ridiculous. All of a sudden, the numbers are even now. Still so much utility for the attacking side. There's that Hunter's Fury, though.
Trying to inject a little chaos. A little madness into the site and into the round. Astralis trying to peek around the cage from down in hell as Bunny B catches Femboy, I guess trying to upgrade a weapon. Now the ult used. Astralis is left in a 1v3. On the site proper, nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. Miara cleans it up as Ghosts get to 2.
This is exactly what we need to see out of Bunny B. Going for those reclear timings at their own pace, and then playing the advantage. Now, yeah, obviously it was a 4v4 on site, but you still had that Hunter's Fury to be used. And yeah, that was enough injected chaos that Bunny B was able to get even more kills. 3K into that round.
Here.
Can you keep it up? Can you string together 2 rounds in a row? It's been something that has been very difficult for Ghost to do. It's something that you must do. It's required right now.
Scanning ahead.
Juna ult, but
pressure.
Yeah, but look where the spike is.
Yep.
Again, the calling from Wada is so good. It's so nice.
That trip didn't get broken though. This should be so obvious for Ghost.
Oh,
It should already be a heavy lead. What?
Yeah, spam through the smoke for Pickles. The rotation's just now arriving back A. Power Pixel tucking down in hell. Do you have any ults? Femboy has ult. That's all it is, though. Let's see if the spam can find a free one. Juna forced to sit back and watch as the wall will keep them back. And the sound sensor, too. It's just buying time.
Spam kill on the aerial?
A wall is now down. The paranoia will be used. Femboy pushing forward. Not really concerned with alleviating some of that tree stuff. Power falling. Juna's got a timing slow walk through the trip, and they have no idea. The op shot's wide. Juna falls. Femboy with 2. He's gonna have to fall into a 1v1. Kataris on the other side. It's been such a rough series, and it's not getting any better. Femboy with 4 in the Red Bull clutch for Wada.
It's just ridiculous how Femboy plays Valorant. I swear. It's truly a different game. I mean, even the decision to want to pop your ultimate in a 4v4 post plant, you can't really help out, you know? Like the flood or anything. Finding the perfect timing to come out of that Yoru ult and just securing all those kills, slipping into the smoke. It's a breath of fresh air, honestly, to watch. Now Wada are putting themselves in a good spot to get a 10-2 half on attack ascent. I mean, 9 is already enough, it feels like.
Yeah. Probably. What?
I mean, to make things worse, you're just shooting elbows now.
Elbows? I thought that was the pinky.
Right? That was very fast.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
questionable play from Bunny B, though. I mean, that was audible
Agreed.
the entire way through, right? Kind of just sending it.
Uh-huh.
Look at this. We're smoking door for players to lurk up garden. It's just...
It's beautiful to watch.
So clean.
Meanwhile, the whiffed ult from Pickles. Miara with the stinger from a distance. So far, so good, though. 1 kill found as Juna
can't move.
Decides to take the fight just a little bit closer. It's a 2v2 here. The stuff not playing yet. Kataris was in a great spot, but Juna again.
30 seconds left.
I feel like I've said her name so many times tonight. Juna's just been unreal. Wada 10-2 half. Brother, they're knocking on the door of that grand final.
Yeah, and in such a dominant fashion as well, which is extremely important. Because, you know, Shopify is sitting here watching all of these VODs, just soaking up information, seeing what changes are made. You are right about the pinky shot. Jeez. This is exactly how you want to go into a final after losing.
Oh, yeah.
The uppers, right?
Yep. Yep.
Want to make it clean. You want to kind of almost incite fear into Shopify, which obviously, you know. What am I seeing?
Okay. Brother, I saw the Wada.
It said timeout, right?
Yeah, it said a Wada timeout, and I went, there's no way. There's no way. But it is a tech pause. I am being told that there was a player connectivity issue. So once they reconnect, we'll get back into the game. You were talking about, Dre, I want to give you a chance to continue. You were talking about essentially the platform that Wada can launch off of on this series as they turn their attention towards what's likely going to be the grand final for them tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it's really important that you win as cleanly as possible, like they have been. You don't want to show all your adaptations that you have off of the last loss you had, especially because, I mean, the maps that we've seen today are the ones that we saw in the map pool yesterday, right? So we've seen already changes on the ascent attack approach, and the fact that they won't showcase a lot of their defense, which is what got exploited by Shopify yesterday, is extremely important for that matchup.
We're back. This pistol, this goes without saying, this is a must-win pistol for Ghost. And Dre, part of the problem is they haven't won a pistol this entire series, and so it's a tough sledding here for the attack.
Yeah, even when they were up 2, they couldn't close it out. It's not been an easy battle for them. Dart does get broken in mid 1, but it's a double attack with a Yoru flash out of Cat.
That's a pretty flash. Femboy bit off a bit more than they could chew.
Oh my gosh.
It's just one. Power was there on the trade. I like this positioning out from Power. Taking a quick step back. That's a Ghost in light armor. And all of that light armor is now gone. The reposition, is it going to try to push back in through mid? Could be exactly what they need.
Yeah, Bunny B's a menace right now with this Ghost.
That's another kill count. 2 more to find on the other side of the wall. 2v4. Bunny B with 2. Make that 3. The last one is snappy. Ghost got the pistol.
Way more decisive, way more assertive was Bunny B on this attack approach. Just running it down all the way mid to B main. Really pressuring Power to not get anything done with that good positioning that you were talking about. Ariel almost got timing right there, looking to the right on the swing. That was a good refocus of the crosshair. And now is like the tough part. Like, how do you navigate and not get thrifted again? Like, you have to do something extra. And I guess it's just Bunny B lighting up the kill feed again.
And that'll help. Remember, those were some of the sticky spots. Those were some of the sticky situations you were just talking about. How the thrifties have not been kind to them. And so to be able to win that out early on is a good sign. How much can Femboy do here? Nothing. Very well played. I mean, that's discipline, and that's exactly what you want, right?
Yeah.
Perfectly
Great
played.
drone. And now you can just flood it into the A site together, really set up, make this as clean as possible, make this a potential flawless anti-eco.
I think
not much for Wada to do.
No, I think as we look forward for Ghost, you were talking about how they, you know, are kind of messing around with a potentially flawless eco. If they were to convert this without dropping anything, which seems likely, a Vandal, a Guardian, I'm sorry, a Vandal and 3 Bulldogs and an Outlaw, which is very strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there will be a lot of players with with full shields. Oh wait, Starbarn's putting some damage in right now.
Oh, Juna is
oh wait. It was almost so clean. Only 2 end up surviving.
And one of them's gonna have to buy armor again. Miara can probably keep the regen armor, but Ariel will not have the same luxury.
You know, it's such a small thing, but it matters so much when you're trying to make a comeback of this sort. I mean, nice shots from Starbound though, and also I believe it was it Juna again?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, we can assume probably. I don't know.
Yeah. And this is the problem, that all that damage being done allows Starbound to just invest in Outlaw. And now look at how many players are one shot to it. I mean, every single member.
And if you are just tuning in to Game Changers for the first time, you haven't really seen anything from the Swiss stage or from the main stage. Starbound is good with the Outlaw. Starbound is good with the Op. And so, a very strong position for Wada right now. Femboy getting tagged. Yeah, tricky spot to be in there. The net was very good. Astralis gets cleaned up too. Starbound, don't make me a liar. Starbound's good for 1. The second one will split the uprights. And June is left in a 1v2. Kataris, it will upgrade to the Outlaw, excuse me. Juna has a decent shot at this if timing goes their way. No way. Oh, head spotted. And now position given away. Miara will get flushed off of this. I was wondering if the flash was there. And it does connect. And so that's going to buy a little bit of time. Juna has to play this perfectly. But this, you assume, would be the dagger. If Juna can pull this off. A 1v2. First kill found. And now, understanding of the second. And Juna does it again for Wada.
Perfect isolation on the fights. Juna has been an absolute freak in the server on this ascent. You go back to the aggressive lurk timings on attack. Now, that 1v2 was just so clean. Precisely swinging the player in hell. But also the way that Juna used that full Vice utility. I mean, Razor Vining off the player on Gen. Flashing hell to get info that Kataris is playing there. It was just masterfully done, and that was a must-win round for Ghost. It felt like they shouldn't have even gotten that close, given how the buy was. All that good stuff that Ghost did to get into that post plant was just stripped away off of a 1v2 of Juna. Aggressiveness, beating the timing on that chamber trip. Why did I have no idea of this? Bunnyb needs to take the timing.
Does the drone tag? No. Bunnyb in a really nice power position here. Off of the flash. Juna was the sacrificial lamb.
Beautiful, cutting off the B rotations, and these 2 players on A are isolated.
Power persona now falls, but Femboy snatches the lead right back. I mean, any advantage instantly gone. Femboy has a chance for more. Trying to settle onto the 3rd, not connecting onto the 4th, but the damage has been done. And it's Starbound in a 1v2. Just Headhunter bullets here. I don't think there's even a chance to upgrade a weapon. Bunnyb's going to be up close. Very nicely done by the Oru. Ghost gets to 5.
What an exploit of the chamber trip in mid. And nobody close enough to even hear the audio cue of Bunnyb committing that TP. And now you kind of have to have somebody sit maybe even closer to market to be able to hear something like that. That might change the way that Wada approach the defense. They definitely have to compensate for that, because that is I mean, that's a huge gap. I mean, look at this. Look at mid now, Doug.
Yeah, that's not happening again. Yeah.
That is hilarious. 4 members running it down mid, but Ghost Gaming with your ultimate should get information that B is free. Are you going to be ready for this 4-person walk down of mid with the fast flank B main? Yes, it is a weak buy from Wada, but we've seen them pull out miracles before.
Spike planted.
Portal closed.
Sound sensors are in a pretty aggro spot. Surely they're going to realize that's where the flank is coming from now. The tough thing too is that Power's forced on the other side of the wall, so can't really join the conversation. At least not yet. Starbound, that shock is going to hurt. Astralis falls. Starbound out. Power close by. Yara back sight gets cleaned up. Really nice shot from Power. Starbound into 1v2. Last 2 kills of the round are cleaned up by Pickles as Ghost get to 6.
Yeah, nice shots from Pickles. I mean, all things considered, I don't think Pickles has had a bad lower final debut. I have to say.
No, not at all.
I think Ender was right. Pickles is definitely a shooter. Now having that deadlock ultimate online. Wada made it a little bit scrappy there, but ultimately Aerial was able to get a lot of those massive trades.
One enemy remaining.
Kind of turn things back in the favor of Ghost in that post play. 11-6 is the score line here. So many ults, Power ultimates online for Ghost Gaming to run it down wherever they want. Looks like it's going to be a lot of fake B presence, though, and the spike is towards A, so running a fake of their own. Euroclone won't bait out the Vice Wall, though, and that's kind of...
Freaking spot. Oh, gosh. They baited out the Hunter's Fury, but the problem is they're all going to be dead by the time it happens. They don't know. That's
Nobody helps
cold.
Judah?
No, that's so cold. Well, the thing is, they didn't know if there was anyone else behind the smoke.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get it. Well, pour one out for Juna. That's messed up. Still a 3v2. Ghost still down. And Aerial's got a really good flank. But is anyone holding the smoke? No. Aerial gets 1. Aerial gets 2. Femboy puts him out. Kataris on the other side. And Kataris stands strong. Ghost get to 7.
Oh, man. Ghost are starting to get confidence in these 1vx situations. They're looking good. What a massive play from Aerial, picking the perfect timings. By the way, Astralis was watching that flank for like
in the smoke
a couple seconds. Yeah.
Heaven?
Kataris was watching the flank Heaven.
Yep.
And the timing couldn't have been more perfect for Aerial. Just perfect opportunity. Execution was almost flawless. Femboy is popping off, but got shut down in the 1v1 against Kataris. And now, Wada again on an eco round. I feel like we barely had to say this in this series.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't happened very often.
No.
And the times that it has, it's been converted.
You know what, Doug? I'm so happy that Bunny B was able to punish the jumping kills that we've been seeing Femboy get in that round. I was like, how many times is Femboy going to get away with this?
Surely not again. Surely not again. Drones passing by one another like ships in the night. Still just a couple of sheriffs. The only real gun is the Vandal for Starbound. No real way past the smoke. June is dead. The quintuple face. Good luck. Yeah, Power Click Salad 1v5. That will wrap it up. Ghost will get to 8. Barring an ace. Instead, it's a flawless round for Ghost. Money should be
to the round.
Yeah, Money should be stacking up nicely. 3 members kept full armor. Wada call a timeout.
Yeah, they have to settle. Wada have been getting destroyed on their defense again. Maybe the blueprint was that Shopify game, like Ghost Gaming, kind of just taking some of the same strategies that worked against Wada in their previous matchup. That's what? That's 6 rounds to 1 on the second half for Ghost. This is becoming competitive. This is becoming everything that Wada were hoping it wouldn't become.
Yeah.
Now, how do you maneuver around the operator of Starbound and the Odin of Power?
I don't think
So
they've had to
really
face that,
pivotal
have
guns
they?
on defense. No, not so much lately. I mean, they had to go against the chamber operator of Starbound, and I think they did a really good job of maneuvering around it.
Mm.
But now, you know, you have to deal with that Odin as well, and a Vice ultimate if Wada want to play retake on that A side again. Something that they tend to like to do a lot. See here.
Yeah, I'm curious about what the setup will be for Wada. It looks like the Odin will be B around the Vice utility and the Op A. And so the trip mid, I mean, the weaponry has changed, but the setup looks pretty similar, Dre.
Revealing area.
It's still a pretty passive setup at A main, at least. A quick TP from Femboy to go to B if there's any mid to B pressure. Clone used, and no one spotted if anybody was in mid for Wada. This is that weak mid setup that got abused by the Euro TP. And now Femboy has to pick that up. You see that TP?
Yeah. And it was all off of the...
perfect for Ghost.
It was all off of the trip. Very well done. The flash is there. Can Starbound get out? Yes, and gets a kill for their troubles. Oh, gosh. I thought that was going to hit. Shock soaring in towards heaven. You got Astralis playing just on the other side of the wall, waiting for the tiniest of slivers to connect and cannot. So Spike gets planted again. Ghosts have done very well to get to this point once more.
This is just so hard to hold, though, because the Vice ultimate.
Yeah.
This thing's going to hit every single member.
It's so aggro. You look at the position on the minimap. I do think you're right. Everybody should get tagged. There's no place that's safe. It's all down to the classics. Pickles gets one. Taurus does two. And that's all it'll be. The ult from Juno was perfect. Starbound gets three. Wada gets a series point.
It was looking so promising for Ghost. I think they played that round really well early on, baiting out that chamber trip. And the fact that Wada had nobody in mid, like Bunny B had to teleport back to B to pick it up. All of a sudden, A becomes weak, and we even flash Starbound off of the angle in hell. But it's the punish against Bunny B again that Starbound gets. That basically makes it impossible for Ghost to be able to play into this site.
Yeah. And honestly, I thought, I mentioned it in the round, I thought Starbound was going to hit the second in the smoke.
Yeah.
The one saving grace, if you will, Bunny B's 2 off of ult, and so maybe, I mean, maybe you game plan around that. I don't know.
I mean, especially because you haven't taken any main control so far. I don't think Ghost are aware of how weak A main has been this half. The fake clone.
Oh no.
Hail Mary plays. I mean, you know what?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sure, try it. It's better to try it than to not. Aerial falls, and there are only 3 pieces that remain for this Ghost Gaming squad. A hell of a run to get to this point. I don't know that anyone expected them to be in this position, but they're down in numbers here. Now 2v2 is Ghost trying to claw their way into this, trying to keep this thing alive. There is hope for Ghost. It's slim, and it might be fading, but there is hope. Power Pixel and Starbound, the Odin and the Operator. The prolific duo for Wada in a position to close the series out, to send them to the grand finals, to send them back to a rematch with SRG. And the only 2 members that are standing in their way are Miara and Kataris. Spike now down. A reposition from Kataris. And this first fight will be everything as Starbound creeps forward with the Operator. Hell, pseudo cleared. You gotta understand, there it is. A bullet right between Kataris' eyes. What can Miara do? Can Miara convert the 1v2? The dink is not enough. Wada sweep Ghost Gaming. They are grand finals bound.
Huge series from Wada. A great bounce back as well after, you know, kind of getting destroyed on Ascent last time they played. I think that they still show that they need to make more improvements on that defensive side of Ascent. I think Ghost Gaming did a good job of climbing their way back into that map. But, I mean, those first 2 maps were extremely dominant from Wada. And this rematch against Shopify is going to be epic. I think this BO5 is going to go absolutely insane.
Well, I mean, there's very good reason to think that. Think about the performance that they showed today. Think about how well they played Ghost last time they danced. I mean, we're set for what should be an amazing series tomorrow if Wada can replicate that same level of success. They were dominant up against Ghost Gaming literally all day. And yeah, Ascent got a little close at the end there, but you even think about the first half. It was a 10-2 half.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that they really fumbled at any point in the game except for the second half of Ascent. And at that point, you had such a massive lead, you can kind of afford to lose a few rounds and you're still going to be okay. Again, grand finals bound are Wada. We're going to throw it to a break. They still have the Verizon post-match interview, and the Des will yap a bit about what they saw. We'll see you guys soon.
The human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secretlab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
It's for you. Do you like it? Come on, Charlie, use your new door. Come on, let's go. I said go. Let's go. Silly dog. I'm gonna trade you for a cat.
Red Bull gives you wings.
The new Red Bull Zero is here. 100% wings with monk fruit extract.
Congratulations to Wada. 3-0 series, a perfect sweep to make their way into the grand finals of the main event. Honestly, Dan, going into that, Wada, I mean, we had queued them up to be the overdog in this series. They took a lead and they just never let go.
Yeah, a few more rounds and Ghost is able to get on this map of Ascend, but no matter what, we knew what was going to happen. It was a Wada that gets this 3-0, and now for the second time they make it to the grand finals. We remind everybody that they were the team that won the grand finals all the way back in kickoff, and now they make it once again for that rematch against Shopify Rebellion. They played so well throughout today, and even with the situation for Ghost Gaming, I think that they were still following that game plan that Wada had from beginning to end, the things that we've seen throughout the main event, the things that we saw throughout the Swift stage. It's just a team that is so strong individually, and on top of that, they've been adding so many layers to their game plan that allows them to be in this instance this time around.
Yeah, they were lights out today. I think Femboy had a few incredible maps, and Starbound just showed up in such a major way for this team, which I think is a really big confidence booster coming off of yesterday's performance, where I think Starbound just didn't really live up to the level that we're used to seeing out of them. Obviously, difficult competition for sure in Shopify, but with that rematch on the table for tomorrow, Starbound's definitely going to be happy with the performance today and want to come in swinging up against the GOATs in Shopify.
And now making it to the grand finals as well for Wada. This is not the first time that you see a lower bracket run into a grand final situation for both for Starbound specifically, right? That happened all the way back in 2023 when they were on that lower bracket run. They were able to win and actually got that #1 spot over that team of version 1, now known as Shopify Rebellion. So there's some big win conditions here looking at tomorrow, but it's a Wada that needs to keep doing exactly what they were doing today. It was a clean game, and we know that we knew that this map of Ascend, just looking at the first time that they played each other, was going to be a little bit closer, with the Ghost Gaming kind of trying to have a comeback happening into the second half. But again, understanding those win conditions for Wada allow them to be here and to win this 3-0 very, very clean. One of the cleanest ones that we've seen for sure.
And I will say, I'll give credit to Ghost Gaming here and what they're able to pull off on this third map of Ascent. Of course, in a situation where they have a sub, that is a really difficult situation, Dan, especially with subs switching out halfway through. I want to give big congratulations to Pickle for that step up, and the rest of Ghost Gaming too. I mean, looking at this roster that is newer and what they're able to do for this event, top 3, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's really, really nice. And for most of these players, that's the first time that they make this top 3, except for Bunny B. All the way back in kickoff, she actually was able to get that third place when she was playing for YFPX. So now it is the second time that she gets this third place. We've seen kind of the growth of the team, and even dealing with a difficult situation. It's kind of trying your best, doing your best individually, and hopefully seeing what they can do eventually for the next couple tournaments. So it was really good for Ghost Gaming. I like that we're getting to see and meet new players, but once again, it's a Wada that have been the favorite since we got the chance to see them in kickoff, and we can expect them to really put up a fight against Shopify Rebellion tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this bracket, it's very cool to see Ghost Gaming go through that lower bracket run, but at the same time, Wada have just been crushing everyone not named Shopify Rebellion. And the 2 times they played against Shopify this year, it's been 2-1. So tomorrow's best of 5 is going to be close, and I'm really excited for it.
It'll be such a great grand finals, and I absolutely cannot wait. But I also cannot wait for our Verizon post-match interview and hear from Wada with none other than Arya on the line. Big congratulations on this win. Clean 3-0. You're in the grand finals. How's it feel?
It feels amazing. I said it right before the match. I said I wouldn't want to be anywhere other than right here, right now, playing with the same people. It feels great going into tomorrow.
Let's talk about that, because the first time we got to see Wada was back in kickoff, and really be able to see you guys pop off and then get that championship, and wasn't necessarily sure of the future. So how does it feel then, main event, and being one of the top teams that we have in Game Changers?
It's pretty insane, because most of the team thought that this team was only going to be for kickoff and nothing else, but then main stage came around, Swiss came around and OQ, and we were like, why not just go for, the #1 trophy and just go for it. So, future's looking really, really nice for us.
It really, really is. And it's a future with the date with Shopify Rebellion Gold yet again. You have been the only team to really test them, both times being able to take a map off of them. Now it's going to be a best of 5 grand finals. How are you feeling with that rematch ahead of you?
I'm feeling confident. Obviously, today was really, really nice. 3-0, it was great. But I can't wait for the grand final tomorrow. I don't think, in my opinion, second place means nothing. It's the same as 8th place, so might as well go for first.
I love the confidence there. And you're talking too about being able to get this 3-0 today. Well, do you think that's like that extra little confidence boost needed going into tomorrow? Take that momentum on with?
Yeah, definitely. I think the last time we met them in yesterday, we definitely got our confidence a little bit shaken, but we definitely got it back with the 3-0 today.
Love to hear about that. And I'm so excited for the grand finals. And I want to make sure you can definitely prep and get ready. But before I let you go, Arya, any final words, especially to the fans out there who've been watching Wada's journey?
I guess I love them all. It's been great. I unironically have enjoyed every minute of playing with this team and on this team. And I don't really have much else to say.
Short and sweet, and I love to hear how much you all love playing this game together. Arya, congrats on this win. Best of luck in that grand finals tomorrow.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. I love the confidence, momentum being able to take from this 3-0. That will be an exciting one because, Ender, yet again, this Wada team has been the only team, now twice, to take a map off of SRG, which speaks volumes in itself.
For sure, doing it twice. But also, I just love the idea that we're coming into this finals where Wada, they won kickoff. But that's an event that Shopify didn't even play in, right? So Shopify have a little writing on this as well. We're winning this. They just remind everyone that, of course, they would have won kickoff if they decided to compete. But if Wada are able to pull off the upset, that is insane. Going back-to-back here as a team not named Shopify, that's something we've never really seen.
Yeah, it's really fun to see kind of the growth that Wada has had, to know that we're going into the grand final tomorrow in a way that it can be very competitive, as it was yesterday when we got to see that map that they were able to take away from Shopify Rebellion in that overtime at Lotus. So I love that we're seeing what we're seeing from Wada, from both the experienced players that the team has, but also the newer players that we're still getting to know, like Arya. I think they have been amazing so far in the tournament, and I really do want to see them coming in tomorrow with all that confidence to see how far they can really push Shopify.
And let's look at the bracket for one final time today and the journey for these two teams. Again, big congratulations to Ghost Gaming for making it into the top 3 of the main event here, because that journey, having to go throughout that lower bracket for the entirety, I mean, Ender, that is so impressive.
Yeah, especially when you consider that, like, YFPX was a team that Ghost had lost to. Aussie and Friends was a team that Ghost had lost to in the Swiss stage in coming here. So being able to come back and, you know, get those back-to-back upsets today, of course, it's going to be a bitter taste. Events outside of their control prevented Vanitas from playing with them, but that's just going to give them more fire heading into stage 2 after what really was beyond impressive performance out of this squad.
And another chance once again in the same engine for Power Pixel and Starbound to be able to take that grand final away from that core Shopify Rebellion, as we've seen in the past few years. And on top of that, I just think it's a team that, again, has had so much growth that I can't wait to see what they're going to be able to do tomorrow. There's some win conditions out there for sure for Wada and what this chamber is going to be able to do. And I mean, how annoying it's been for every single team that we've played, both in the upper and the lower bracket. So I'm super excited for tomorrow. I think it's going to be actually much closer than people are expecting.
If people are expecting it to not be close, then they have not been paying close enough attention. A best of 5 tomorrow with the 2 best teams that we have here for the main event will be absolutely amazing, and I cannot wait. And tomorrow is going to be an absolutely stacked day of Valorant as well, because it's not just the grand finals here for Valorant Game Changers, but as well for Collegiate Valorant. University Esports NA is going to be hosting the 2025 College Valorant Championship Grand Finals tomorrow. Huge milestone for Collegiate Esports with student engagement, event visibility, and the development of the scene. It's going to be Winthrop University, who we've seen throughout this challenger stage, go up against Maryville University, one of the top teams in the esports space. It'd be so exciting. Especially to a lot of great talent within the circuit. The Valorant College circuit, more than 200 schools, 384 teams, bunch of regional conferences, and 9 partner conferences. It's all going to be happening 9:30 a.m. Eastern, right before the Game Changers NA Stage 1 Grand Finals tomorrow. absolutely do not miss it. It's going to be a great day for Valorant fans out there, Ender. I cannot wait.
Yeah, and really, I just want to leave on one final note here. Sign Wada.
Yes, yes, that's a great point.
The perfect ending for today. Sign Wada. Thank you all again so much for tuning in. The grand finals tomorrow is going to be so worth it. We'll see you back here. Have a good night, everyone.
Last player. One
Defenders win. Dá, dando fuga, vai.